Hello, I'm MC Toon, and it's Tuesday night, and we've got a debate. This is a 2v2 debate on the 24/7 Cosmology Tartaria Discord server. The link to that is in the description. I am a mod on that server. Not that I care a lot about moderating people a bunch, but that's and let's see. I'm on the server already. I'm in their chat. I have the stuff ready to go on the screen, and one of their people is feeding back this live stream into the audio. So it's kind of distracting me a little. I think somebody is. Yep, I know who you are, Shane. It was Shane. Anyway, I'm gonna join over there on their server and start talking to them. All right, everybody. I'm live and ready to talk here on the Discord server, guys. How you doing? Toonie, that was Kiwi, and yeah, thanks. That's Shane. All right, so who is somebody's moderating. Okay. 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 All right. Oh, I already did that. That's already done. Yes. All right. Oh, they can't hear you yet. All right. Oh,
I am back. I'm here.
All right.
Hope you weren't waiting for me.
Oh, I was going to take over,
we
but
were,
you're ready
but that's
to go.
all right. We're still waiting on Negator too.
All right. So yeah, well, Negator is going to be. He said maybe a little late, so we're good to start whenever.
I got a place we could start. Let's start with a short 1-minute video. Maybe Shane wants to share it. I just sent you a message.
Before we start, I just wanted to say this will be just for the four of you. Anybody in the room, please don't interrupt the debate. I'm just trusting that you're all going to keep yourselves muted out of courtesy for that. And I think that's just about it. Be sure you don't talk individually to one another. You know, like if one of you wants to jump in when you're talking to the other, that's absolutely fine. We don't want to end up with a one-on-one conversation about anything. And that's about it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
And yeah, MC Toon, thank you so much for sitting down to chat with us, obviously. And to Jesse and Negator, whenever you make it, we'll be here. Yeah, let's roll with it, boys.
I think this person is on the highway, so they probably have around like a 10 to 20, 25 foot observer height, and they're looking 18 miles to the other side of the shore.
Dangerously on 55 and I-10 junction in New Orleans over Lake Pontchartrain. These are the utility poles that run 18 miles across the lake. And I just wanted to show you there's the shore on the other side. They do not dip down. 60 feet. They are perfectly level. This is the shot I've been trying to get.
All right. So on a spear, you would see at least some obstruction on the bottom of the power lines. You shouldn't see the shore. That's 18 miles. You should see, we can calculate how much dip you should see, right?
What was the height that they're viewing from?
So this guy explains that he parks his car on the side of the highway, and he's
Okay.
right on the shoreline of the lake.
Okay, but you don't know the height?
I would suspect, like I said, 10 to 25 feet.
Oh. Well, it'd be
If he
nice to
parks
get.
his car,
Yeah, I have no idea what.
Yeah, listen
the
close
height
to what he
is.
says in the beginning. Then listen to the beginning.
There's the shore on the other side.
I didn't. I mean, it's not playing the beginning yet. So, without we can't do a prediction on what we should see if we don't know the important information, like the observer height.
10 feet. What should you see?
At 10 feet, but you don't know the height. So
Yep.
tell me the height, and then we'll do it.
Well, what should you see at 10 feet? Let's say he's at 10 feet. He says it in the beginning, actually. You got to listen.
Well, then go ahead and play it.
Over Lake Pontchartrain. These are the utility poles that run 18 miles across the lake.
You want to start it from the very beginning.
And the shot I've been trying to get, I am dangerously on 55 and I-10 junction in New Orleans over Lake Pontchartrain. These are the utility poles that run 18 miles across the lake. And I just wanted to show you.
He didn't say it?
I didn't hear him say his height.
Because I think he said that at the very beginning.
gentlemen, if I may interject for a quick moment, just the observing that he's sitting in some form of a vehicle. So I think it's safe to say that we can assume a 5-foot observer height if he's sitting in a vehicle. I'm assuming a truck, even down to a car.
He said he was on the road, so his tires weren't in the water. Right.
I mean, that's not the only observation. This is just 18 miles. There's plenty longer ones I could start referencing.
Well, we're talking about this one, so if you want to go to those others, that's fine.
Well, what's the explanation on a sphere?
There is no prediction yet because we don't have the height.
How do you explain this if you're on a sphere?
I don't know the height.
How do you explain the no
There
obstruction 18 miles away if you have 8 inches per mile? That's supposed to be how much drop there is, right?
That's not the right formula. No, that's the wrong formula.
Okay, so then where's the curvature there?
How high is he?
Water level, right?
How high is he? You didn't know. I can't tell you. Over 18 miles, there's like a quarter of a degree of curve. Right, so the resolution of this video isn't good enough to see a quarter of resolution, quarter degree of curve, right?
Height. Fine. We don't have to guess observer height all day, so we could just move on. You don't want to address it.
So with sorry, Negator, if you'd like to go.
What?
Would you like to present
No.
piece for observation, or what's happening?
Yeah, I can find another one right now.
Yeah, go ahead. Find the other one you were talking about.
Okay, give me 2 seconds. You know what I'm about to find, right?
Whatever you find, I will put it into the actual formula and see what the actual prediction is for the globe, and then I'll share it with you.
Well, I think he gave
You mean the presupposition that presupposed radius value?
That's how you test a hypothesis, right? You test it by testing it. You put in the numbers, right? But of course, I'll use the radius that I personally measured. Right.
Okay, but clearly that observation doesn't show that value, right?
Clearly we don't have enough information about that observation to make any conclusions. Right? If you have a kind of a low quality source of data, then you're going to have a low quality output to your test.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it started for us.
And
you're just choosing to not actually address it. That's cool.
You didn't. I don't have the information to address it. How can I give you the prediction for the globe if I don't know the height?
I said
You
10
need
feet.
that.
You don't even want to address it if it's 10 feet.
But you don't know that it's
generous.
10 feet. So if I give you a prediction for 10 feet and it doesn't match the observation, which is not 10 feet, then that's useless, isn't it?
You're not even willing to participate. It's all good. I'm just going to get another one.
Exactly.
With the safety observer height. I'm
Perfect.
fighting it right now.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yep. Yes, right now. So is there something else that you were thinking about getting into?
Yeah, I'll let you present your stuff there.
Right.
Further, what is the distance? Just while we're there, what is the distance and how was that determined?
18 miles to the shore.
How is that determined? How was 18 miles determined?
I'll do it for you right now.
But how are you going to do it? How are you going to determine the distance?
Anybody would. I'm just Google mapping it as quick as I can for you because you're asking me this kind of question.
Okay.
You're acting like you don't know the distance. It's kind of like a waste of time.
But why are you
I'm just going to
but hold on, but why are you using Google Maps?
And I'm going to pick a little town on the other side of the lake. Okay, this is Mandeville.
But Jesse, if you're using Google Maps, you are presuming the radius of the Earth that uses the Vicente formula, which includes the radius of the Earth.
No, I'm not assuming a radius of the Earth right now.
But if you're using if you're using Google Maps, you are using the radius of the Earth to get the distance. You are presuming the radius of the Earth to measure that distance. So if you're doing that, you can never ever come at me about presuming the radius of the Earth in a test because you are presuming the radius of the Earth when using Google Maps to measure the distance across there. You see what's going on there, right?
Yep, it's going to say 18 miles once I drop this pin. And I'll snapshot it and put it in the chat for you.
Assuming the radius of the Earth.
Is what you think the debate should be about.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that you're assuming the radius of the Earth in your measurement. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah, I think your idea of fun right now is not mine.
Okay.
Okay, so this part of the lake specifically is 26 miles, and the lake changes size across. So this guy picked a part of the lake that was 18 miles. This part of the lake that I picked is 26 miles. I'll snap a picture.
But there's there's a landmark. There's a pretty clear landmark, so you could get on Google Maps the radius of the Earth one. Right? You could just use that landmark to get right across there, the distance.
Okay, I posted a picture in chat.
All right, in the live chat here.
You gotta stop denying that that's 15 miles in the video now.
Oh no, I just want to know why you're presuming the radius of the Earth in your measurement. That seems a little awkward for you, Jesse.
You know that's not an argument.
I don't know. I mean, you tried to use that argument on me.
You're seeing the shoreline. You're assuming a radius. You're clearly stating you're not incorporating the radius.
You assume the radius. Right?
What else do you want from me? I just posted that is 26 miles across the lake. The guy claims his observation is 18 miles. It's the same lake. Okay? Are you going to focus on that now?
Okay. And his height then. Be glad to get his height.
25 feet. Just do it. 25 feet.
But you don't
do some magical wizard math now to find out.
But you don't know his height
or not on a sphere. You should have seen obstruction already in the video.
I'll use 1,000 feet. It doesn't
Just
matter if you
adjust it
don't
like it's
know the
reality.
actual distance.
Adjust the reality of the video. There's no curvature in the video.
Well, how much curvature is expected? You can't say there's no curvature seen and it's a problem.
Dude, I'm not going to
unless
expect curvature if my natural observation shows me none. I'm not expecting it.
Okay, but so you don't know how much curvature is expected on the globe, so you can't actually test the claim at all. So it's not testable. It's an
I know how much you
unfalsifiable
want to
test here.
presuppose in your model. Yes, I know how much you want to presuppose. I'm telling you, your observations that you make don't show that. That's the point.
So you say,
You want to take
but
a
we
bunch of
don't.
observations.
But we
6 miles.
But we don't
City
yet know the
skylines,
prediction.
6 miles. You want me to start posting these?
We don't yet know the prediction. So why don't you find an observation where we know the observer height and have a good clear picture or video instead of that kind of blurry one where we don't know the height of the observer.
Right.
So now,
So what's your argument? Since you're acting like there isn't one right now.
my argument is if you're going to test to see if the hypothesis of the globe is correct, you have to actually test if the hypothesis is correct by applying the details of the hypothesis.
Right. There's
So
no obstruction. There's no earth curve in your picture. In this video I posted, there's no earth curve.
But the observer height is critical for determining that, and you don't know the observer height. So,
dude, you know, I've seen like hundreds of images at this point.
Then why have you not shown the second one that does have the observer height? Go ahead.
You're acting like you've never seen it either. It's like crazy. Why are you acting like you've never seen this?
Every single one that I've tested works out just fine for the globe. So I'm just waiting for you to show yours so that I can do the proper math. Okay. And I'm just waiting. Just bring up one of the hundreds that you've seen, and we'll test to see if you actually see too far.
Let's move on to something else because you're not addressing it.
Of course I'm not addressing it. You didn't bring up any actual testable evidence. There's nothing to address.
You couldn't even assume that this guy was 25 feet above
I'm
the water,
not going to make any assumptions about his height. That's a garbage observation if you don't know his height. So find one of the hundreds.
Any higher than 25 feet.
One of the hundreds that you referenced. Just go ahead, find one of the hundreds.
So I'm just move on. Let's just talk about the atmosphere instead, because you don't want to address that at all.
All right, go ahead. Talk about the atmosphere then.
Yeah, I can't find a video of a satellite entering the thermosphere. Can you?
I don't know. How does that determine the shape of the Earth?
You don't have proof of the atmosphere.
The existence or non-existence of any particular arbitrary video is not
curvature. Hold
on. I wasn't done talking, Jesse. The existence or non-existence of any one particular arbitrary demand video that you have is not evidence for or against anything at all. If you think the Earth is flat, then you have the burden of evidence to show that the Earth is flat. Do you have measurements of the flatness of the Earth? I would love to see measurements of the flatness of the Earth if you think that the Earth is flat. It's your claim. Do you have any evidence for it?
I literally just showed you a video. You dismissed it because you don't know an observer height, but the water's level. There's no obstruction to the shoreline. The point of the video was to show you that the water didn't obstruct the shoreline. Supposedly, in your mind, 18 miles away, right? That was the point of the video.
I don't know the distance.
Like that didn't just happen, but it did. And now you're acting like I didn't just provide that.
You keep going on about this.
That's really crazy. We're gonna move on and talk about
you said that we're moving on, and then you go back. So are you going to go back again? Go back again. Why don't you, Jesse? Keep going back, Jesse. Go back. Go back, Jesse. Oh no, we're moving on. Oh no, we're moving back. Jesse, are we going to move forward or go back? Which one? Tell me.
You didn't address the first argument.
Yeah, go back. You're going to go back. Oh, but no, we're moving on,
gentlemen. Hold on. Okay, before we start starting to attack one another. McToon or MC Toon, you said earlier that you personally measured the curve. So could you possibly provide that evidence for us, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much.
I did it 4 times. I did it on the both solstices and both equinoxes. I'll grab the first one, which I did in 2019. Put the link in your chat there for everybody. Shane, do you want to go to that website there and then bring it up so everybody can look? Because I'm sending your video, Shane. There you go. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see the pictures that I took. So I measured the length of shadows at local solar noon. This is in Minneapolis. I'm about 45 degrees north latitude. I did this. This is with 3 other people on the same day. So if you look at, there's a spreadsheet linked on there, right at the top. Go up a little more, and you can click on the spreadsheet, and you'll see this one was just 2 other measurements at the same time. So a total of 3 different measurements. You can see somebody at 31 degrees latitude, somebody at 45.57, and then myself there at 55 or 45 degrees. So in this particular one, we have 2 major, statistically different latitudes, and we get, presuming, hypothesizing that the Earth is flat, we get varying elevations for the sun. They're off by over 1,000 kilometers. And that's that sun elevation on FE column there. If you go back to that one, Shane. There you go. And then and then when we presume that the sun is very far away and that the Earth is spherical, then we have consistent measurements of the radius of the Earth there. And in let's see, elevation difference, we see a difference of 1,300 kilometers, and the percentage differences in red there is almost 30%. And with the presuming that the Earth, or hypothesizing that the Earth is spherical and the sun is far away, we get a difference of variation in the radius of the Earth of 27 kilometers, which is a 0.4% difference in elevation, or not elevation, in variation there. So there you go. There's my personal measurement of the radius of the Earth. When we hypothesized that the Earth was flat, the hypothesis was falsified. And when we hypothesize that the Earth is spherical and the sun far away, the hypothesis is confirmed.
So how did you vary the difference between the globe versus flat in terms of your observation? Because in both of your tables, I noted that you stated radius.
Just the radius.
You had a radius difference stated.
Yeah, the radius of the column J there is the radius of the Earth for the globe. Yep.
Right.
I didn't have a radius of the Earth for flat Earth. Yeah.
Right, but if that's what I'm saying, you're going to presuppose the globe in both cases. How are you going to do that? If
No,
you're
no.
actually entertain. Hold on a second. Hold on, please. I allowed you plenty of room. My question specifically to you is that if you're going to make the statement that if it were in fact flat, then therefore this, you would have to actually show in your table that the mathematics would indicate a radius of null, so that your observation could actually yield true to your shadow alignment. Again, you are specifically to what you're doing using stuff in the sky to prove the shape that you're standing on, which seems to be completely asinine.
All right, so for when I hypothesized flat Earth, I did not use the same formula.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Where's your formula that you presuppose flat?
Shane, if you want to click on one of the there you go. So if you see if you click on sun elevation on FE, so click on cell I2, you can see there the math, and this spreadsheet is publicly viewable. You can look at it yourself in your own time.
Right, but
Right.
So we should be able to just change in your table. We should just be able to go to J2, change the radius to 0, and what happens to your
No,
mathematical
this is measuring
chart?
the radius. This isn't presuming the radius.
Right. But what I'm saying to you is that you have to be able to put in something where if you're going to truly observe flat, there should be something that shows 0, right? If you're really going to claim that there's a globe model versus a flat model, then there should be a table that shows 0, shouldn't there?
No, not at all. It's different. It's different
Okay.
trigonometry. So I use.
Oh, okay. Oh, so hold on a second. Okay, wait a minute. You're going to bring up trigonometry.
Yes.
Okay. Let's park that for a minute. Go ahead, finish up.
Okay.
Please.
Well, the trig is pretty simple. You see the distance.
Oh, how so? Please enlighten me how trigonometry works. Then,
Yeah,
if you'd
all right.
like to go there.
Column H is distance to the Tropic of Capricorn. So this was on the December solstice, and so that distance is just gotten from 60 nautical miles per degree latitude, which is something that navigators have used for centuries. So if you have a problem with that, then I guess if you have a different value for that.
No,
go
I have
ahead.
a problem. No.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I have a problem with you stating trigonometry and then stating globe as a model. I don't
I'm
see how the
testing-
two interact. But
Yeah, I'm testing flat. So get it straight. So flat. I'm testing
Okay.
flat. I'm testing flat. Flat.
Okay.
Flat. I'm testing flat. Trigonometry testing flat. Okay, that's what I'm doing
Okay.
here. When I test flat for trigonometry and apply the trigonometry to flat Earth, I get an elevation of the sun of 3,047 miles, 3,162 kilometers. Sorry, 3,162 kilometers and 4,468 kilometers. This is just applying the trigonometry. It's just solving a triangle. All right, we know the distance from flat Earth, from where the observer was to where the sun was, and we know the angle. Given those two things, plus the 90-degree angle going up to at the GP of the sun, that gives us angle side angle. We can solve that triangle, and we know the elevation of the sun over flat Earth. Okay. That's how I got the elevation of the sun over flat Earth. If there's a different way to measure the height of the sun over flat Earth, I've not yet seen it, and I keep asking, and I've asked for quite a while. I've not seen anybody say a different way to do it.
But in your
you
mathematics,
wanna
again,
Roll up in the chat.
just to be clear, I'll withdraw after this. Again, in your table, you have a radius shown. In column J2, I don't understand. If you're going to have a table that calculates everything for you, then should you not have a model that states a flat plateau observed?
Yeah, that's column I. Column I is the testing the hypothesis for flat Earth and doing the trigonometry for flat Earth by solving a triangle. Column J is testing the hypothesis for the globe.
Your globe.
Yeah.
Again, associating stuff in the sky to determine the surface that you stand on.
Yeah, it works
So
great.
that's fine. We can
It's a
move on.
fantastic way to do things. Yep.
We can move on from here. Thank you for your
All right.
personal measurement.
Do either of you have a different way of calculating the elevation of the sun over flat Earth?
Well, you're for using this. I'm not using this stuff in the sky. No,
Okay, Jesse.
Yeah, you're using the sky to talk about the shape of the ground.
Oh, okay. So you don't like that because it falsifies.
No,
Okay.
I'm looking
Okay.
at the base of the container right now before we go to gas pressure, right? To observe the container. I'm just looking at the base of the container to figure out the base to see if so you have a personal admittance to the panel. I accept it for what it is. You put it forward. That's great. I have had evidence as well that I'd like to put forward. So if we're ready to move to that point, I'd love to. Is there anything else?
Yeah, I'll address everything you said, though. In the flat Earth model perspective, what?
No, I was saying, go ahead, Jesse. I apologize, man.
Yeah, man. When you were testing with your flat Earth model and seeing how the sun would rise on a flat Earth plane, I doubt you invoked perspective. So I posted an image in the chat if you want to look at it, or Shane can put it in the live stream. Not that one. There's a picture I posted above it.
So actually, I did specifically apply perspective. That's exactly what I did. But and I've asked. I went into all over the place after I did a video a couple weeks ago, and people said you don't know how perspective works. So I went and I asked a whole bunch of flat earthers to teach me how to apply perspective, and I did not get anyone that actually gave me the process to apply perspective.
You did 2 different GPs, right? To test.
What's that? So
what was your? Well, yeah, go ahead.
There's the observer and there's the GP of the sun at that moment. So given those 2 things, how do we apply perspective?
That's 2 different GPs, right?
Nope. One GP. You have the observer and the location, the one current location of the sun, the GP of the sun.
So you did
That's it. One GP. One GP. You have the observer and the GP of the sun. How do you apply perspective to that?
That's why I'm asking. You did this at the equator?
Nope. It was at 45 degrees north latitude when I did it.
So the GP of the sun is not where you are. So therefore, the sun is going to change due to your perspective in the sky, because you don't know how far the sun actually is in the flat Earth model.
And that's exactly you're right. And so I measured it. I measured the elevation of the sun because we do know the GP, and I knew how far I was from the GP. So knowing those 2 things, the GP of the sun, my position, 3 things, my position and the distance between them, how do I apply perspective to get the elevation of the sun?
That's why I posted that picture. I think it'll gradually change more and more due to your celestial sphere, that is the sky, and also your perspective.
Okay, and how do I compute the consequences of that claim?
I'll post another GIF. You gotta incorporate everything that you see in reality. You can't just eliminate things that happen in reality when you're doing a flat Earth model. When you're
sure,
this stuff out.
I'm just asking for the process, and maybe you're going to be the one that finally gives it to me. I hope so.
Right.
Okay, and so all right, so you have a drawing here. So how do we apply perspective then to this? What's the process?
So you have your own perspective sphere and you have the celestial sphere. That's 2 things that are getting lensed.
Lensed by what?
That's how you can add that 1 degree every 69 miles.
But
and
what's
that's
causing
how you can calculate the sun's movement, applying these 2 things that happen within your perspective, rather than assuming Earth curve and the ground is curving away from you.
I'm presuming that the Earth is flat in this hypothesis, and I'm asking you. So you don't need to talk about the globe at all for this particular part here. I'm just wondering, how do we apply perspective? And so you've given me an animated GIF, but that doesn't tell me how I actually apply perspective to compute the consequences of the claim about perspective. So how do I do that? Like so you don't seem to think that trigonometry does it.
This is specifically just demonstrating how we don't know the true positions of the celestial bodies.
Why not?
So it's just representing them in just like a whatever space.
Why don't we know
how
that?
we perceive them is being represented with the smaller sphere? That's your perspective.
But how do you know that when you say you don't know the position of things? How do you know that this is correct? You've
don't know the positions of the stars either.
Sorry, you've proclaimed that you are ignorant of this while simultaneously giving me this graphic that proposes to know things about it. So which one is it? Do you know or not know?
I'm just simply showing you how it's possible that perspective can change the positions of the stars gradually and exponentially, depending on where your GP is.
Well, perspective.
You understand that at least,
well,
right?
perspective doesn't
full-blown denial mode in our conversation.
Yeah, perspective does not bend light, and it does not change things exponentially.
Oh, that's interesting that you think perspective doesn't bend light. Okay, so that's wild.
So well, if you think it does, then I would be glad to
I
see
know it does.
the empirical evidence of perspective bending light.
I see it happen all the time. It happens every day when I'm outside.
Just the empirical evidence for that. Then go ahead, just send it if it's that easy.
Oh, you just want to act like everything you see is where it is, I guess. So you just think everything is its actual positions, then, right?
If you are claiming that's not the actual position, then you have the burden of evidence. Go ahead, your turn.
How did you prove that they are the actual positions?
So you're changing, you're shifting the burden there. You've made the claim that where we see things is not where they are due to perspective. So please provide your supporting evidence for that. It is your claim, not mine.
I'm segueing for you because you're trying to keep this in a little nonsense.
Shifting the burden is
the
what
point
you're
of the
doing.
Conversation.
I'm familiar with that little trick, Jesse. All right.
You don't want to address it.
There's
again, a conversation
there's nothing to address. You have said you don't know anything about how it works. Also, you've said that you do know how it works, and you've not provided evidence supporting how it works.
Yeah, your concluding statement to not wanting to address the argument is quite nice. I understand you want to move on.
Yeah, deflect is all you have. That excellent. Go ahead. You provide.
Okay. Yeah. So do you have anything you want to bring to the table today?
I already did, and
set up a debate for you, and you just keep asking me to bring things to you that you're deflecting. So I'll just wait for you to bring up something.
I already did. You said that I did it wrong, but did not provide the right way to do it.
I addressed it.
You did not provide the right way to do it. What's the height of the sun given those pieces of information?
I'm sorry that you think the only way to do things is to presuppose curvature.
I'm not. We're specifically talking about flat Earth right now. So you've shifted away from that again.
Don't show curvature. You're presupposing.
So once again, please tell me for flat Earth, flat Earth, how do we get the height of the sun? What's the right way to apply perspective? Go ahead. Flat Earth, not for the globe, for flat Earth. Don't know?
Yeah, choosing to not address anything that I bring up. I'm waiting for you to bring up something.
All right. Well, let's move on then, since you're incapable of applying perspective. You're not the first.
And you're incapable of debating, apparently.
I've provided evidence and you've said, no, that's the wrong way, and not provided the right way, Jesse. So I've shown the evidence. I falsified flat Earth. You did not have an actual substantial rebuttal.
You didn't.
No, you hold on a second. Hold on.
That would help you. Yep.
Let's just be clear about what you provided. You provided stuff in the sky to provide your evidence of the Earth.
Yes,
surface.
It's a fantastic way to do things.
So there's nothing that you have that actually shows anything interacting with the surface, like a car tire, which would measure the distance that it goes to actually show what the drop over distance actually impacts.
I do have lots of those things, but I gave you one thing so far because I was specifically asked to show how I personally measured the radius of the Earth, and so that's how I did it. That's why I showed that.
Drop over distance. Okay, so how does drop? So if I were to ask you then, how does a 100-mile sample set unpack as a drop over distance?
A drop over distance.
How would that? That's correct.
Do you mean bottom up obstruction?
I mean, if I'm standing in one place, the node of a circle, if you will, or the node of a sphere, the node being the crown of that sphere, and I was to walk out a distance of 100 miles, what's the elevation depression that my feet would be at? Negative what?
The elevation would be the exact same on a globe.
My friend, again,
you don't.
I'm standing in one spot.
Curvature is not elevation. They're different things.
Okay, so you're telling me that if I go from one spot, again, the node, the crown of the ball, and I walk out a distance of 100 miles, the two differences, there's not going to be a difference in the terms of height.
You said, what's the difference in elevation? The difference in elevation is 0. Yeah.
Between those two? No, what are those 2 points? What is the drop over distance?
Do you want drop or do you want elevation change? You keep swapping terms.
It would be the same thing, would it not be?
No, they would not. Could you maybe write down so that you could look at a piece of paper and not change it next time? Do you want drop or do you want elevation difference because they're not the same. On a sphere, they're not
Okay.
the same.
Give me drop. Okay. Thank you for asking for the clarifier. Drop over distance.
Drop over distance. You want I can give you the formula for that.
No, I'd like the actual. I'm asking for 100 miles. What would
Yeah.
be the drop
You
over
just
distance
drive
over
that.
100 miles?
You don't have an observation that matches that.
Yeah, so it's
That's
a little
the point.
it's definitely just a hypothetical since he doesn't have an observation for it. Right?
No, it's not. I don't.
You don't.
You have the, in this regard. You have the claim. I'm asking for your burden. I was asking for your proofs that shows where that drop over distance, what it would actually be. What it
Well,
works
you're
out to be.
asking for a very specific and arbitrary 100 miles. I don't have a very specific and arbitrary 100 miles. If you want to see drop over distance, I can show you that, but I can't show you exactly 100 mile drop over distance.
Okay, so again, let's be specific.
Okay.
A sphere,
Yes.
a ball, has a set geometry.
Yes.
3959 is the claimed radius. So
Measure-
if I apply
measure. I did it myself.
3959,
Yeah.
if I apply a 3959 radius, I should be able to unpack a drop over distance. So I'm
Sure.
asking for a sample set of 100 miles to be able to say what would be the drop over distance shown. What is it?
The drop, but how are you going to measure this? This is all hypothetical so far, but I'm glad to give you the formula. Hold on a second. Let me give you
I
the
don't
formula.
want the formula.
No, you
I
asked
don't
for the
want the
formula.
formula.
You need to address
You
it.
certainly
I said
did
I
ask
want
for
the number.
All right. If
No,
I'll
you
g-
rendered the formula. I said that I would like the number. Again, 100 miles. It's a sample set.
All right. And
And
how
it's
are
a
you
large
going to
enough
test
sample
this?
set to
How are you going to
provide.
test this? Do we want to do hypotheticals or do we want to actually like
I'm asking, it's your model. I'm asking you to provide the 100
All right.
miles
Here
drop
is-
I'm
over distance
providing.
over that.
here's the
You
formula.
guys ready?
Here's the formula. There it is. In your chat is the formula.
Are you guys ready? Is everybody paying attention to the stream right now?
Who's? Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, turn up the volume. Let's go.
To descend for the same distance. The square of 20 miles multiplied by 8 inches gives 266 feet as the amount the vessel would be below the line at the beginning and at the end of the 40 miles.
The wrong math from Dubé, of course.
65. Also quoting Dr. Roper.
Oh, you getting triggered?
On a shore near Waterloo.
No,
a few miles to
it's
the
just
north
the
of
same
Liverpool,
classic straw
Stop
man.
talking.
scope was fixed.
Not even 10 seconds?
6 feet above the water. It was directed to a large steamer just leaving the River Mersey and sailing out to Dublin. Gradually, the masthead of the receding vessel came nearer to the horizon until, at length, after more than 4 hours had elapsed, it disappeared. The ordinary rate of sailing of the Dublin steamers was fully 8 miles an hour, so that the vessel would be at least 32 miles distant when the masthead came to the horizon. The 6 feet of elevation of the telescope would require 3 miles to be deducted for convexity, which would leave 29 miles, the square of which multiplied by 8 inches gives 560 feet, deducting 80 feet for the height of the main mast, and we find that, according to the doctrine of rotundity, the masthead of the outward bound steamer should have been 480 feet below the horizon. Many other experiments of this kind have been made upon sea-going steamers, and always with results entirely incompatible with
Okay, how long does this clip go? Is that it?
66. Dr.
There's
Roper-
plenty more, and he knows it already.
Yeah, it's
So
just we don't want
we
to
can
spend too
stop
much
now
time
if
making
you want
anyone
to
watch
pretend
videos,
this
you know?
stuff doesn't
Just gotta
exist. Yeah, let's
All
stop
right,
him
so-
now, and you
Cap
can
on
stop pretending this doesn't exist. How about that?
I'm glad to address that. You ready? Okay, he was quoting from Robotham. I've read that book. Robotham uses the wrong formula. He doesn't know how to do the right formula. So I'd be glad to go through the correct application and the correct predictions for the globe. Again, it's a classic thing that flat earthers do is they never use the correct math. So
No, you never use the observation there. You know what that means?
Bring the observation.
You're
and
not
we'll do
using
it.
reality
Bring
in
the
your
observation.
map.
You've said that you have lots of observations, yet you can't bring any good ones.
None of your
Details.
observations show 8 inches per mile. None of them.
They shouldn't. That's
You
the wrong
understand that?
formula. That's the wrong formula.
Fuck your formula.
formula's
You don't
What?
get
Okay,
to use
so
radius
wait.
values when you don't
Of-
see curvature.
Of course I get to use radius values. It's been measured. I
Not when you don't
personally
see
measured it.
curvature. Not when you see a boat 36 miles away. No, you don't.
And how did you measure that distance? And how do you know how much should be obstructed bottom up?
So
You don't
then
know
you're
any of
just
these things.
challenging the
You
idea in
don't
general.
know.
You're just
You,
denying
Jesse,
that these
you don't
observations
know.
exist.
You can't definitively say whether
Okay,
or not
so
you
you're
should see these things
why
unless
am
you
I debating
actually
you if you're just going to deny that these observations are real or not? What's the
show
point of talking to me?
a good observation where you know the data. You haven't done that yet. Why are you refusing to show a good observation where we can test it?
Dude, this goes.
Interrupt.
You want more time with this video? He got like 20 more lined up. You want to play this video or not?
He used the wrong
You want
method.
to talk about
I'm
all the
glad-
observations that don't
I'm-
show curvature, or you want to act like they're
Absolutely.
not real?
Bring one, please.
Go
I will
for it.
test
Play
it.
the video. Play the video.
Which one? But just want to mention that
That's a book written
Negator is here.
140
You're acting
years ago.
crazy.
Jesse,
You're
that's a
acting
book
crazy.
written 140 years ago. You don't have photographs. You
Now,
don't,
you're
we don't have
referencing
any
one little
confirmation.
that got
You don't
mentioned,
know
but
the
all these
distance. You don't know
observations
the
are real,
observer.
made in real time by real people.
Come on,
So I don't
Jesse.
care what book.
Get a high quality
It's
measurement. Let's do it.
still an observation.
Let's see it. Come on. Good quality measurement. Let's see it.
Hey, cool your jets while your globe is getting debunked. You don't gotta talk through the video. He's speaking. Listen to the video.
You didn't yet provide any testable observations. Come on. I want to see one.
Entirely incompatible with
Go get it. Go get a photograph. Go get that one over Chicago. Come on. Go get that one. I got that one ready for you.
Several other experiments using telescopes.
I got Nowomsky ready to go.
Let's try not to do more than a minute or so of footage at a time.
Vertical planes. By positioning them at equal heights, aimed at each other successfully.
All right. Well, Negator is here. Welcome, Negator.
Flat for miles without a single.
Hi there. Thank you. Thank you.
Caused quite a stir in the scientific.
See, things are going swimmingly.
Negator, what's happening, man?
The shape of the Earth became a hot topic.
All right.
Apologies. Had a busy morning.
67.
All right, and I've tried to get Jesse, and he's very reluctant to get any good high quality observations, like a photograph where we know the observer's position and elevation. He started with something where the elevation was unknown.
There's literally a video
Distance
rolling
was-
right
Oh,
now. It's
on.
rolling.
Jesse, I'm giving.
Stop
Negator-
monologuing about
Jesse.
evidence not being shown while it's rolling. You're crazy.
This isn't a photograph. This is a 140-year-old book, Jesse. Do you have something more recent than that has like a photograph?
Oh my God!
You say you
Literally
can't
30 seconds
see
later in the
curvature,
video.
but you don't have a
You
photograph.
can't wait 30 seconds.
All right, Jesse,
What
come
is
on,
that?
get something.
You got
Get something. You've
30
got
seconds.
hundreds. You've got hundreds. Go grab it.
All right, people don't got time for actual real evidence.
I'm waiting for you to
Can I-
present the first evidence. Go ahead. Go ahead, Negator. You can
Sorry.
have fun with him.
Negator.
You can have fun with him
How
for
you
a
doing?
while.
Watch
I
the
heard.
video. Literally watch the video. Listen to the person talking, and stop acting like it's not happening. Wrong video. Oh no! Wait. Is this still no wrong
This is the
video?
one where we don't know the observer height.
Timestamp for 42 minutes. Try to not talk while the evidence is happening in your face. You got your blinder.
You haven't yet shown the evidence. Oh,
I'm
there's
talking
Chicago
during the evidence.
skyline.
Stop talking during the evidence.
Oh, I'm ready for Chicago skyline. Negator, what you go ahead, Negator. I've had too much fun. I've had 45 minutes of fun here.
Oh, has it been 45 minutes? I'm sorry. I had a PT test this morning, and I walked off the track at 8:06 and had to be at the dental office at 8:30. So I continued running, and just very busy. So, Jesse, I know you're looking for a scene in this video, and I'm willing to watch it and entertain what you've got. I'm curious. You mentioned seeing a boat at 36 miles. Is
Yep, that was the last.
evidence aside?
That was the last clip that just played that you missed.
Okay, I'm not going to dispute what was seen, but I am going to ask: is seeing something at 36 miles the rule?
What does that mean?
It's as opposed to an exception. Is seeing something at 36 miles the common thing that we see?
If you could zoom in on it over water, then I would say, actually, no. The conditions of the air can change, and it depends. I don't think you can see the Chicago skyline every day. I think it changes. Yep.
Well, the assertion being that Earth is flat, not obstructing the boat, therefore I can see 36 miles. And I can agree with you that conditions can change to allow you to see and not see. Hence my question: is it the rule? And if it's not the rule, then how often do we see something at 36 miles distance?
You're looking at it.
Well, correct. This would be one time I've seen a boat at 36 miles. If I were to observe...
Many people make this observation. Doesn't matter what day it happens.
Poor guy.
You're going to deny reality. What does that do for you?
Well, many people still doesn't give me an idea of how often it happens, right? Because on a globe, you know,
tell me how it happens on a sphere. It doesn't matter who saw it and how many people saw it. When does this happen on a sphere?
Okay. Did you guys talk refraction or anything yet?
No, not yet. He hasn't yet brought up an observation where they know the observer height.
You're talking about the obstruction blocking the image and light lifting it over the curve. And that's what you're saying.
Are we bringing up refraction already? Are we going there already?
Is there a reason?
If you guys are willing to go to refraction already, I think it's a little early to go there.
Oh, okay. Well, let me know.
Celestial objects are in their apparent position.
Oh, Shane, could you pull up my pictures, please? If you wouldn't mind. At this point, I'd like to present some evidence of my observations. My stuff is from Lake Ontario, from 2 different observation points. The first observation point I have pinned within the shares. It's to the south of the Toronto skyline. The second observation point is to the southwest of the Toronto skyline. Now, if you can just go back to the Lake Ontario photos.
So Shane, I'm muted myself on their side. Shane is
you can hit the Rogers Center. That's perfect.
Finding their stuff.
So the Rogers Center,
we can see.
aka the Sky Dome, is where the Toronto Blue Jays play baseball. Now it's 282 feet in height. Shane, if you could hit the next picture. Now the observation distance would be 30.85 miles to the south, Niagara on the Lake. Thank you. If you could go to the next picture, please. Now, that's the CN Tower. And to the left of that is the Sky Dome. Again, 300 feet in height, 282 feet to be exact. Now, based on a 31-mile distance, what would the hidden amount be? Shouldn't there be amount hidden in the distance if that was the case? I mean,
sure. What we need the observer height.
Just a second. Just give me a quick second. Okay. Based on the I'm a little dragging, if you will, but based on the mathematics, and you can just debunk it from here if you'd like. But that's what I get for the amount that should be not visible over that distance, which would be like 640 feet. So that building should be at least double hidden, i.e. it's only 300 feet and 300 goes into 600 twice. So go ahead, please.
All right. You always use the wrong calculator. That's so I linked the a good calculator. So what was the observer height?
5 feet.
Your feet were in the water. Are you not lying or lying?
Sorry?
Are you lying about that, just making up a number? Or were your feet actually in the water?
I'm sorry. The camera shows, based on the observer height, 5 feet. Walking off the shoreline. You want to add 2 feet onto for the additional shoreline? Go ahead. Take 10 feet if you'd like.
All right. Absolutely. And then the measured vertical temperature gradient.
I have no bloody clue.
Okay. then we have to estimate
Here's
the
the thing.
coefficient of refraction.
Here's the thing, Toonie. I'd like to just know how a building that measures 300 feet in height is not, and this is on you to prove to me, why a 300-foot high building is not hidden over a 32-mile distance. That's my question of ignorance.
Absolutely, I'm absolutely ready to show you that, but I'm that's why I'm asking these questions, because these are important things. You can't, you're like, apply the math. You wanted me to do the geometry. That's what I'm doing. You specifically asked me to do that, so I am specifically doing that. Right? So if you don't know the coefficient of refraction, that's fine, but we have to estimate. Okay? So I'll give you the screenshot.
Yeah, go ahead. Make that presupposition that light is bending the city up. Let's see.
It's not a presupposition. I'm glad to give you the empirical measurements of the effects of refraction on in the air. So all right, there you go. There is the using the Walter Bislin's calculator and a coefficient of refraction of 0.7. So there you go. It's an estimation. It could be higher, could be lower.
What did that do? That didn't solve anything.
It told us that there's with a coefficient of refraction and the other of 0.7 and the other things that you gave me, it predicts that the hidden would be 113 feet. You said to apply the math. I did.
You're not addressing the point of this conversation.
Oh, what was the point?
Because you don't know it, right?
Well, go ahead. State it again. Go ahead. For
those
listening along at home.
We've been showing you there is no curvature. You don't see a drop 8 inches per mile from the observer, no matter the height. You don't see it.
Yeah, you shouldn't see. You shouldn't see the wrong.
It with the Earth calculator.
You said.
How do you have a 50-foot Sagita?
Your refraction calculator.
How do you have a 50-foot Sagita built into that bulge?
It's just like, that's not why I'm here.
No, so hold on a second, Jesse. Toonie, how do you have a 50-foot Sagita built into this, dude?
That's what the math says of the globe. That's what the math of the globe says. You don't like it. I don't care. That's what our model says. I'm happy to present with you how our model works. Right? You can't present how your model works, but I can present how our model works.
The observations people are making. Can you look at that for once?
All right. So this is and again, just to be clear to the audience who's viewing this Bislin calculator you can put in both models, the flat model and the round model. Yeah.
Yes, in the flat model, nothing is obstructed, which
so is the next picture,
which is a little
the next
tough
picture that Shane has to pick up. Shane, if you could pull up that last, that one. So again, same. This is a little closer actually. This is in Oakville, but a lot better quality of a picture. Again, you see the CN Tower. You see the 300-foot high, tall structure in the distance. So I don't know. It's thank you for zooming in. I appreciate it. So the next thing is that I look at it, and I'm just gonna rip through the plane picture. Shane, if you could pull up the plane picture for me. Thanks. So this is at 35,000 feet. Still continue to see the ceiling meeting with the floor and absolutely no distortion in the floor observed whatsoever. Shane, if you go to the next picture. So that's the sun full bore. And the picture before that, Shane. And to be clear, that's actually the moon right inside of that sun, which is pretty cool. But again, I'm just pulling these up for the observation of the ceiling meeting the floor. And then that last picture of the, perfect. Yeah, where's the curve? That's fine. Thank you, man. Again, 120,000 feet up, and we still seem to see this no deformation in ceiling meeting the floor. So I don't know.
What do you mean no
how many
deformation?
flat pictures does it take? I'm asking you, do you see any deformation in that
What-
picture?
Can you be
versus- and if-
specific what you mean by no deformation? Are you saying no curve? Is that what you're saying?
I don't see a
Clearly.
deformation, period.
Yeah,
Ceiling
I'm trying
meeting
to.
the
It says,
floor.
where is the curvature?
Okay. All right. Glad to show you that one. Just a second here. So
Can you
that
mind
yeah,
if I hop in?
keep that one. No, I have all right, for Shane. Go ahead. This one right here. That particular one is taken with a barrel distortion lens and cherry picked. So could you show one that's got no barrel distortion, please, at 120,000 feet?
Sure, no problem. Shane, if you could go to my Go Fast pictures, please. So the last thing I have, and then I'll
Go
withdraw
Fast
after
is
this.
a barrel distortion too, by the way.
I'm just bear with
So
me.
I asked for no barrel distortion, and you're going to present barrel
You
distortion.
can
I love
bear
it.
with me. I'm gonna.
I love it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
totally
that
gonna
you
present.
go for barrel distortion. So you show a barrel distortion, cherry picked, and you say, why is it flat? Because that's a cherry picked still from the video that has barrel distortion. It's a lie, and you did not verify it by looking at the original video. We were easily indoctrinated because you uncritically accepted the claim. You did not look at the original
can
video.
Slow down just for a second there, Toony. Quick second there, okay? Please. So Shane, if you could just go to those pictures for me. So the pictures of the Go Fast rocket, what I find interesting with this observation is that it's a gained altitude of 115 kilometers. And the moon and the sun are both pictured in the video. Consulting with the Farmer's Almanac, based on that date, the moon was in fact 90% luminosity above Australia and New Zealand. Now, the thing about it is, with respects to the video consultation, is that the horizon is actually shown being both concave and convex, as the camera is rotating around, the horizon is in fact distorting both ways. So to observe the shape of the horizon from this video would be dumb. I'm only presenting this video to show that with a gained altitude of 115 kilometers, the moon and the sun were in fact both viewed. With respects to the distortion of the horizon where the floor meets the ceiling, that is something we continuously see no matter the altitude we gain. That suggests we see too far. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
Toon, you mind if I
Go
hop
ahead.
in here and we circle back to this one? There's I know we got away from the seeing too much bit pretty quickly. I do want to talk about that again, and then we can come back to the horizon pictures here. I think the horizon pictures you guys are presenting are they're based on a bit of a misunderstanding, but we'll come back to that. Going back to your Ontario observations, and Shane, you don't need to go back to them. I'm curious because I understand you can show photos of ostensibly seeing too far. We're not 100% what the height was. We've made a calculation based off of both the geometry of the world and the expected refraction. Toon, what was the expected obstruction from your calculator that you did?
I do need to adjust it.
100 feet, maybe
113 feet, but I had the target height of 282, but it's sitting on a 25-foot elevation for the base of it. So let me adjust that.
Sure. So that'll remove a little. The point, Kiwi, is not to dispute what's being seen, but rather is what's being seen is explainable by other model. Because I could very well show you pictures of the CN Tower at the same distance cut in half. And those pictures exist. And for you to deny their existence would be strange. If you want to see them, I can find them for you. So the better question is, which model better explains why sometimes I can see too far and sometimes I see obstruction? Would you agree with that? Kiwi,
All right, go ahead. I'm listening. By all means.
I asked a question.
Yeah, by all means, I agree with you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so because we're in agreement that we need to find the model that best matches a large swath of observations, it seems foolish for me or either one to say, hey, look, this one image represents reality. So first, I'm curious why you think your supposedly unobstructed photo matches reality while ignoring the pictures of obstructed objects like the CN Tower. Does that?
I've taken the mathematics
Uh-huh.
in terms of what's been supplied. 3959 radius. That distance should be showing a blocked, dropped horizon line, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
It's not occurring in real life, no matter which way you view it from south or southwest. We still see the structure.
So I'm not disputing that we see the structure. What I'm trying to ask, or what I'd like for you to do, is take multiple observations and then draw a conclusion. Because clearly, if the conclusion you're drawing is strictly based on the geometry and nothing else, then we have a big problem when I show you an obstructed CN tower, right? That implies that there's something at play here that's a bit more than simple geometry. So making an argument based on simple geometry is not going to get you anywhere.
McToon, we're
Right.
getting some
Are you
hardcore
fighting with a
clicking
chip
from your
bag or something?
microphone.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay, here's the thing.
Thank you.
Two different observation points yield the exact same thing, which is, in fact, that the structure is still shown. Right now, we can go as far as back as even to Hamilton, and we still get to see the sky dome. In fact, there. Now, that's just one body of water that's not even exposed to an outer body of water, i.e., the ocean. We have two observations over two Great Lakes, which indicate something is amiss. We check for the number that you guys supply readily, and it's not there.
Okay.
So as far as you being able to show me a picture of the CN Tower being cut in half, cool story, bro. But McToon, hit mute, man, if you're going to fight with your keyboard. Really. If you're going to be able to throw it out there and say the CN Tower is cut in half, I can also say the Sky Dome is visible. So again, if in fact
Kiwi.
the ball is, hold on, if in fact the model is consistent, then it should be consistently gone. This is my point. There's inconsistencies and stories in the, or sorry, there's inconsistencies in the story that we've been told for 62 years. This is the point, my friend.
So, Kiwi, it seems I haven't explained myself properly, because that wasn't a response that's appropriate given the words that I said. I'm not, we're not arguing what the geometry says strictly, right? Of course, discarding some of the geometry that you have to assume is seen through atmosphere, right? So when you tell me, well, the geometry doesn't predict this, and I give you an example where the geometry does predict it, and you respond by reciting the geometry doesn't predict this, it tells me that you're not wrapping your head around what I'm telling you. So I'm trying to figure out a way to rephrase it. Okay. So the obstruction, right? Are you discarding that sort of photo exists? Or are you claiming it's fake?
Of course, I won't discount that any photo that you can provide showing the CN Tower being cut in half doesn't exist.
Okay. So if it does,
you've rendered it as a consideration as evidence. So in fact, go ahead, show it as you will. My issue is, right, it's consistently inconsistent.
Okay. Well,
Does that make
if let's
sense?
just say that were true, then therefore we cannot make the cannot make the consistent argument that seeing too far means the Earth is flat. Rather, I have a inconsistent set of observations that I need to explain, right? Right?
Sure. As in the
Okay.
CN Tower
Okay.
being cut in half. Sure.
Correct. That would be an inconsistent observation with your point that a flat Earth does not obstruct, therefore I see too far. So then we need explanations, right? And to get explanations, you make observations, and you make those observations with several controls. Now, let me ask you: when attempting to control for refraction, what do you think are some ways we could do that?
I'm not even bringing refraction into this conversation.
Okay.
How are you going to
suggest-
invoke refraction now? I don't
Are you-
understand. How are we getting two mediums at play to start to introduce refraction? Where is the second medium coming from?
Well, if it sounds like what you're claiming is there's one consistent, remember, you use that word, one consistent medium from observer to the CN tower. Is that your assertion?
Well, I think the medium that's consistent would be, in fact, the gas within the containment unit, correct?
It
That's the
changes
medium, is it not?
Changes topic.
Again, are
He
you
wants to
asserting
go
that the
glasses,
medium between
gas
the
in a
observer and
container.
tower are consistent? Because clearly they cannot be if you agree that there is an inconsistency that must be explained.
Of course.
Now,
The temperature would have to be explained. The humidity would have to be explained as well. And that is a consistency, i.e. the humidity, the amount of water that's in the air. Two mediums. Excellent, me, my friend, but you're not grading me. This is a conversation, and I'm asking you on
I'm
a day
grading
where
him. He
I
gets
can
an F.
present different consistencies existing in the you like to call it atmosphere, right? We are seeing too far. That white dot is always there. And it's cool that you can provide a picture that shows the CN Tower being cut in half. But what I'm saying to you is the fact that we can actually even see the CN Tower from, or sorry, the Sky Dome from different points is terribly concerning, because the model of the globe should be consistent, and it's not. This is the point.
Well, you
we
agree then.
always see the ceiling meeting the floor. No matter how high we go, the ceiling always meets the floor, and the floor is always there. It doesn't even suggest a deformation as you go above it.
Kiwi, if you agree with me that
Agree with you on what?
Wait, well, hang on. Relax, man. If you agree with me that the medium you're viewing things through, if you're agreeing with me that the medium you're viewing things through is naturally inconsistent, why then are you not also agreeing that the medium on a globe Earth can be naturally inconsistent?
Because you're using something as inconsistent as air and water to try to explain the relocation of an entire city skyline. It's ridiculous.
Well, you said a relocation, so let me ask you this.
Yeah, you moved it.
Always go there.
And how many degrees
I'm happy to
would
not
it have
talk
had
about
to have moved up and down?
Buddy, I have no
I can figure that out.
I don't care that you can figure it out, because understand, entering into the premise of the discussion, right? I actually need to go down the path with you of saying that there was two mediums present. Right? We have to establish that in order to invoke refraction. Like, we have to get to the point where refraction actually exists in order for us to start saying it actually can do stuff. It's just like gravity. It's the same thing. It's just like the globe. You have to take this leap of faith to get there, to be like, okay, here it is. Okay, let's observe it working. What? That's stupid.
Well, Kiwi, what else do you think caused the
Neggy.
CN Tower to be obstructed some days and
Bro,
not obstructed other
you
days?
can provide whatever it is that you want to see, but again, I'm sitting back on my couch, hanging out, and all I see is the floor meeting the ceiling. I sit on my couch, I look at the structure, the floor meets the ceiling. I go outside, I look up and down.
He's just got to run from it.
No matter where I go, the floor meets the ceiling.
Runs from it.
All right, but the issue here is we're in a voice debate. There's lots of people watching. We're exchanging ideas, right? And each of us should take the ideas the other presents, think them over, and give a rational response that would appeal to certain folks in that audience. So when I ask you to agree that the atmosphere can sometimes produce inconsistent results, and you agree,
I'm not going to agree with you. Okay, let's be clear. I'm not going to agree with you that the stuff. Hold on. No. Let's be clear.
Let me finish.
Cut you off
I'll retract my statement. I will retract my statement.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you
then
did.
we need to go back to photos of an obstructed CN tower and your photo of what ostensibly is unobstructed CN tower.
You can cherry pick.
What would you assert?
That's the point, dude.
But what would you assert? What would you assert is going on in those two photos?
Again, Negi, let's be clear about something, okay? The issue is, okay, if your structure, your model that you built at home with popsicle sticks, curved popsicle sticks at that, actually worked, right? This is something that would be gone because there would be the ground in the way.
Look,
okay?
I understand.
Not what we see.
Look, I understand
in real life.
Okay, let me make it super duper clear. For myself and all the Globers listening and MC Toon, we all understand the assertion that the globe should be visually obstructing the object due to the relative geometries between the observer, the physical globe, and the object. We understand
your structure.
Okay.
Your structure should be
Listen.
That's not what you see.
Yes, Jesse. I
agree
with
your
you.
Model,
Okay.
yet
Hang
every
on.
observation we pull up, you don't get that. So
Hang on.
that. Why not address that?
The reason. Do you mind? Do you guys
agree that the model works?
They come.
The model.
They come to a debate drunk.
Okay, let's make sure we're letting each other speak. Please try not to cut over each other.
I've been listening to that for a while, so it's just kind of circular to me.
Okay.
All right. So
Negator didn't address anything.
Okay, let's let Negator talk now.
You gonna address the observation, Negator?
All right. We don't need to hear you state what the geometry says again. Okay, we understand. Now, what I'm trying to get you to come to a mutual agreement on is what is happening that can shift something up and down. And because you agree that I can produce a photo of the obstructed CN tower and you can produce a photo of an ostensibly unobstructed CN tower, there must be a reason for that. Do you agree?
Of course.
It raised up to eye level because that's what a level plane would do.
What's the potential reason for that difference in observation?
Whatever you would like it to be based on what you're presenting.
Nothing.
Again,
they can't
Negi,
answer.
I'm not going to look. No.
Can't answer.
Negi, listen, I'm not going to look
he
to
put them in a corner.
What the potentials of your photos could be.
Great job, right? Negator.
Understand,
you put them in a corner and
I'm
they're
in a
running.
Place
Squirm.
where I'm saying firmly and solidly without issue that the floor continues to meet the ceiling in a linear fashion. No matter how high we go, this is what happens. Now, I don't give a I don't care what you have to show me or explain to me with what can be contained with it that can or contained within it to magically move buildings up and down. Okay? Because I haven't even gotten into the place where I can begin to entertain quote unquote refraction as a rational explanation as to why a whole skyline is in a place where it shouldn't be. And we have this happening over 2 lakes. This is my point.
Why not? Because you do have to explain how whole skyline's not where you assert it should be if Earth is flat. If I can produce a photo of just the top half of the CN tower. And then the conversation becomes which model has an explanation for how refraction works like this. But we can't even go that far until I can at least get you to come to the table and say, yeah, man, there's definitely a reason for this happening that we can rationalize. So you telling me we can't rationalize it tells me this debate isn't much more than you preaching and then us preaching. Do you want that?
You can't
Not at all
rational
from a stand.
fear.
Hold on a second. I'm not going to entertain a question
They're
of
both
you being able to provide a photo
wasted.
of the CN Tower being halfway.
And I'm the
cut off.
one drinking the Toon shine.
Like I'm like I say, okay, cool story. Like nice picture, cool picture, awesome.
So, if you present us any pictures, is it a useful? Is our time useful if we simply say nice picture and move on? Is that what you want in a debate?
Here's the thing, McToon. I'm sorry, no,
Dude
Negi.
is so
It's not
drunk,
a question
so
of
drunk. He comes to a debate drunk.
you being
He's
able
already
to
dumb.
show the CN Tower being cut off.
And he adds to
Again,
it being
I'm going
drunk.
to say to you that if, in fact, the building is showing consistently from two different observation points, how is it, in fact, you're going to invoke what's present in the atmosphere to be able to show that happening?
Yeah. Hey, Toon, I don't know if you saw my message. I got maybe another 60 seconds of brain power for trying to push this point. If you got something, maybe you want to talk
So
about
I've
soon.
got a question from the flat Earth,
Sure.
or for the flat Earth side, from Rollin' My Boulder in the chat, and that's to make a claim and provide data and to let Toon respond. I believe that's part of the question. So I believe the question is to make a coherent claim. He wrote a longer version, but that's the concise version there. For the flat earthers to make a claim and provide data.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I'm up for that.
That's what the past hour has been.
But the
I
data
tell you
hasn't
what,
been presented. But
I'm yet to see data from the globe.
I showed it to you. You didn't like it. But
You didn't show me any data showing Earth curve. No, you didn't.
Absolutely. I tell you what, I will definitely do that right now. Data. You want to be clear. You want data or Earth curve?
What are you going to show me?
All right, hold on. Let me. I have the tab ready. I have all sorts of tabs here.
I'm just going to address Rollin' My Boulder real quick. You must have missed the past hour. Every single picture and video we pulled up were real world observations that conflict the worldview and the theory that you're on a ball, because you don't have a circumference, you don't have a radius value in any of the observations we showed. Okay?
All right.
You understand that argument?
So Shane is. I'm sorry, Toon. I said I was going to pass.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
the
fine.
wand. Give me another 60 seconds, and then I'm gonna stop. Shane is showing a photo right now. Jesse and Kiwi, a photo taken by one of our true friends in the flat Earth debate community, Earth is Life, in Hawaii, where the water temp and the air temp are very, very close to each other, which means very, very little refraction. They're taken a year apart. He also, if you pay attention to things he posts photos across this bay all the time. And what they consistently show is curvature or obstruction, as you're claiming doesn't exist. So take this for what you will. We've mitigated amount of refraction by trying to match up water and air temps. We've done observations several different times over different parts of the year. There's no real visible miraging going on, and we consistently get an obstruction of these buildings at what I believe is the
you said no miraging. You're gonna hop, skip, and jump right past that. No miraging.
If you want to look at the photo and tell me what's being miraged, I'll be happy to listen.
What isn't miraged in your perspective? The ground appears to raise up to your eye level, bro. That's not below. That's not below your feet anymore. So that's not its actual position. It's apparent. Everything in the distance is a mirage. The heck are you talking about? There is no visible mirage.
Well, a moment ago, Key was arguing that nothing can be miraged. Everything is literal.
This is the exact same type of picture you can provide with regards to the CN Tower, dude. It's the exact same shit. 14.3 miles.
And that would require an explanation. But Toon, I'm sorry, man.
I just said the explanation.
All right. So I want to make sure, was it Kiwi? You were asking for data. Was that you?
Yeah, show me measured Earth curvature, please.
Okay,
I've seen people claim it, but then I always have to bring up refraction to these people.
Okay,
I mean, these people are great.
Absolutely.
I love people's data.
All right, so to be clear, what I'm going to show you is measurements and data of Earth curvature. Okay, so now when later on, when
hopefully it's not presupposed.
Yeah, no presupposing. Later on, when you complain about it, you can't complain, well, you're just showing me numbers, because numbers are data.
So let's just go ahead.
So I wasn't done. Okay. I'm going to show you the measurements that do not presuppose the shape of the Earth. You got that? And then here's what's going to happen. You're going to say, "Oh, those are just numbers." But you're specifically asking, hold on, you're specifically asking me for data, and I'm specifically going to give you data that is from measurements. And then you're going to reject it because it's just data. Okay? I'm just predicting the future here.
Yeah,
I'm just predicting the future.
Do you need one debate, dude? Like, come on. Just show it.
All right, Shane. Here is the link for you. So now please don't interrupt here. If you have questions, write them down and you can ask me at the end. So go to that web page there. Spherical excess. Now, look at that picture at the top there. If a sphere has 3 straight lines on it, the sum of the angles of those 3 angles adds up to more than 180 degrees. If you have a plane and you have a triangle on it, the sum of the angles is 180 degrees. And if you're on a saddle, or if you're on the inside of a concave Earth, for example, then the sum of those angles would be less than 180 degrees, right? So this is geometry. This is just the facts of geometry. This is not presupposing anything at this point, okay? And then let's see.
Interrupt now?
No,
you're presupposing the globe.
No,
you're presupposing a radius.
No,
are all over the place.
Holy cow! You write it down. What? Write it down. Okay.
Hey, now
write down your questions. I'll get to them later. Radius. Okay. All right. So no radius involved. Only looking at the sum of the angles. The sum of the angles that tells us that you're on a concave surface, a convex surface, or a flat surface. That's all it tells us if you just look at the sum of the angles. And it only tells you about the inside of that triangle. It doesn't tell you about other triangles. Okay? All right, so scroll down. Let's see. I'll give you another one here so that you can see. So this is the actual data, and I'm going to give you the link to that, or I'll give you the page. There it is, copy image. So here is, Shane, the image to show. So this is measurements from surveyors that were surveying across the United States, and the Transcontinental Triangulation of the American Arc of the Parallel is the name of the publication. And you can see there, these are at different stations across the United States. These happen to be on the West Coast mostly. You see Iba, Pilot Peak, Ogden Peak. Those are 3 points. Triangles were measured, or angles were measured from each of those peaks there. You can see 53 degrees, 38 minutes, 37.117 arc seconds. Do you see that? There's 3 different lines here. These are the angles at each vertex, and they sum up to 180 degrees and 62.16 arc seconds, greater than 100.
The observation.
You asked for data, and I predicted that you would not want, you would reject it because it was data. You
know what presupposition
because you're
means
presupposing
when you're
the globe. It says,
where did I presuppose the globe?
It says spherical angles.
Where did I wait? I didn't get there yet. Where did I presuppose the globe so far? Tell me when I presuppose.
Surveying is they're presupposing the curvature.
No.
Yes.
3 angles. This is all that we have here. Just 3 pieces of data. What part of measuring an angle presupposes anything about the shape of the Earth? Tell me, please.
Dude, I want to see a real observation where you measured Earth curve.
No, you asked for data. I'm giving you data. And I
No,
predicted...
you know what I asked for. I just said what I asked for.
I predicted that you would reject the data.
You're drawing this data from.
All right. Please stop interrupting when I get to the end.
Doesn't the top column state spherical angles?
Yeah,
spherical
I'm not there yet. Will you shut up and let me get to it? Write your questions down on a piece of paper. Write your questions down.
Go ahead.
Write your questions down. All right, I'm going to ask the moderator to step in here because this is getting too much. Please make sure that they do not interrupt until I say that I'm finished. Can you handle that, please? So the three angles.
Sorry, I was gone for a second there. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. The three angles, all they did is measure angles. There's no presuppositions of the shape of the Earth when they're measuring angles. They're just measuring angles. This is the raw data of the measurements of the angles. That's all it is. When you sum those three angles, you get 180 degrees plus 62.16 arc seconds. More than 1 arc minute of larger than 180 degrees. Now, at this point, nothing about the shape of the Earth has been presumed, except we have more than 180 degrees. So, based on geometry, we know that within that particular triangle, there is convexity inside that one particular triangle. Then we move down to the next one, and we see that it sums up to 39.915 arc seconds more than 180 degrees. Then you move down to the next one. We see 61.951. Okay, now that number.
When you say you know there's convexity.
I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Where in your observation is showing the convexity?
I wasn't done yet.
What about the ground is curving?
I wasn't done yet.
Okay, let's let McToon finish, please, or let MC Toon finish, please, and then you can make your point, and I'll make sure you can say yours in entirety as well.
All right, so all of the measured triangles in this particular survey sum to greater than 180 degrees, every single one of them. So every one of those measurements, every one of those triangles demands that within the triangle, there is a certain amount of convexity. Now, we don't yet know how much convexity is inside, but we can figure that out. If you go back to the page, Shane, the first one, that's /SE, and there's a formula on there, cosine of C over R. You see that? So you see that has this cosine, this lowercase c, this capital C, capital A, capital B. Those are the angles and the sides of the triangles. And there's R. So we don't yet know the radius, but we do know that every single triangle definitely has convexity. So we can go, this particular equation here, we can solve for R, which I did. And then we can just put it in the spreadsheet. So if you click on that link to spreadsheet, Shane, open that in a new tab, and then go to the second spreadsheet. There's two spreadsheets in there. Mine's opening right now too. You're not on it yet. No, I think you're looking at a PDF or something. Scroll down a little bit to where it says link to spreadsheet, right there. And then go to sheet number 2 and scroll down a bit. I didn't do all of them. Look at where column B gets to 63. You see that where column B is 63? We have like Webb, Linstead. Let me see. I'll scroll up to where Linstead, Kent, IN Base, Taylor. You see that one? And if you scroll to the right, you can see I took the numbers that were out of that book, the data that you asked for, the specific thing that you asked for. And if you look to the right there, I used that to get the radius of the Earth. Now, this does not presuppose that the Earth is a radius. Because all of those triangles sum to more than 180 degrees, we know that it is a convex surface. When we do the math for all those triangles, we get the same radius of the Earth on all of them. It's a consistent answer telling us that that is a consistent radius of the Earth, not undulating and not due to just being at some high elevation or low elevation. So there you go.
So, where'd you draw that data from?
The transcontinental triangulation and the American arc of the parallel, which is linked on that page there, mctoon.net/SE.
Well, I said it before, I'll say it again. That was some presupposed spherical excess. That's great.
That was measured spherical excess. Measured.
Yeah. Yeah, you measured the ground? You measured the shape of the ground?
Exactly. You're right. Completely measured the shape of the ground.
All right. So with what? Lasers, observations?
Theodolites. 19-inch theodolites. Yes.
You did this.
I didn't claim to do it.
Oh, okay.
So just as an aside, I don't think questioning the veracity of the data or the integrity of it at this point is going to take us anywhere useful, Jesse. And number two, I don't think.
You do all day?
Well, hang on.
See observations?
I don't think. Well, to be fair, we asked for data. We didn't question any data, nor the existence of the photos presented. But going back to it, the other point I want to make is I don't think the requirement that MC Toon or me be the person to personally do something pushes your argument forward or pushes ours backwards in any meaningful way. And I think if you don't understand, and don't take this as me looking down or condescending, because I'm not, because there's lots of things about this world I don't understand. I think if you don't understand the measurements that MC Toon is describing, you should ask more questions so that you can understand them to the point you can dispute the results.
I asked for where he drew the observations, where he got these measurements from. How did he get the measurements?
Correct, and he answered those questions.
Yeah, he didn't actually do it himself.
It's not a good point to make.
Well, geodesic surveying assumes that they're on a sphere.
I don't know what geodesic surveying is. I don't think that's a thing.
Really? Cool. Good for you, man.
It is. Anyway, it is a thing. It is a thing. But I'll be glad. I'll be glad to address that.
No, dude, I just listened to you. There's no photo that you can pull up. There's no observation. There's no measurement that you can say wasn't showing, a flat plane. You don't have curvature, man. You didn't show me anything yet.
Well, let me ask you this.
As I predicted, I gave you data exactly what Kiwi asked for, and it was hand wave rejected because it wasn't something. You moved the goalpost. You want something other than data now.
Nope, I told you way before you got into that I want the observation. I want the data from.
Okay, well then I was giving what Kiwi asked, so maybe you stop talking and Kiwi can answer and say thank you for giving me exactly what I asked for. Kiwi?
That's not what happened.
Sorry, no, I was too busy staring at all the spherical and radius references above all your numbers. So thanks for providing your falsifications of stuff.
Do you have a conclusion to make from the data and the concept presented?
No, absolutely. You think I'm ever going to come to a point of conclusion and agree with any of this? That's definitely not going to happen, and that's strictly from a place of your mathematics show too many things that refer to round stuff.
You didn't pay attention then.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I just looked at all your numbers and said, "Cool story, bro."
Correct. That's
the
issue. Wave that white flag.
No, it's not a white flag I'm waving.
Oh, it is. Cool story, bro, is waving the white flag.
Hear me out. No, it's not, because hear me out.
Absolutely.
You're doing this for the
Thank you for
audience's purpose. No, you're doing this for the audience's purpose. You show your stuff, I show my stuff, right? Because there's nothing that you can actually show me that's going to even begin to bring me to a place of being able to believe
I'm not trying to convince him. I'm muted. I'm trying to show that all he has is cool story, bro.
Giving
that's not a
refutation.
refutation.
Park your stuff here and discuss with Jesse and I, right? That's it. It's all good though. Appreciate it.
So I guess I'm curious if you fully understand what he presented to the point where you can discard the results of the observations. Can you describe to me
What observation?
Can you describe to me what actually happened to produce the results that MC Toon just showed you?
You just imagine.
No, you're not going to put me in a place where I'm going to be asking questions about something that he did. It's cool that he did that. Awesome. Just like many men have done the stuff that you guys claim that they did. Awesome. Right? There's too many references to spherical things in his numbers for me to ask questions. And we're in a room full of people. I need to come over as mathematics. I'll pass. What I do have is a bunch of pictures that show inconsistencies. And we still have yet to just show a quick sample set to say, hey, over 100 miles, this is what the drop should be. Because again, if we're on a structure that has some kind of a shape to it, then there should be an observable drop over it. And I keep relaying on that. Plain and simple. So no, we agree to disagree, whatever you want to bloody well call it, but I'm not moving from a place of stability and plateau flattedness.
He has to stick with denial.
Please don't take offense to this. It's merely a question. But have you been drinking, Kiwi?
Negi, I'd appreciate if you didn't resort to personal questions with inflections of or indications of personal things.
Okay, I can respect that. My
I can tell
issue.
you're a little out of pocket for even being in a public. I'm sitting. I'm. Explain yourself, please. I'd love to know more. Go ahead.
Well, because we ask questions.
Whatever you're saying actually doesn't matter right now, dude. I'm sure you know that.
No, I would like to know how much of a piece of shit Negator actually is to ask a question like that on a public.
Well, I was gonna say, before we go any further, guys, maybe 15 more minutes, open discussion, and then maybe open it up to the general people in the panel if everyone's willing.
Good for me.
That's fine.
Cool.
My
So,
point,
all right,
Kiwi.
let's go. Wait, I want to make a final statement. I didn't see any observation to match the data. I didn't see an actual measurement taking to match the data that he showed. So you didn't conclude anything for me, man. I wish I could pull the globe out the garbage. Thanks.
All right. Well, so the only reason, and if it's time for final statements, I'll make them. But it sounded like Shane said 15 more minutes. So I guess we get to talk about the exact same thing for another 15 minutes.
Well, I mean, I was thinking like final statements, sort of, maybe like a 3-minute final statement from each side, maybe, and then.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people here, I'm sure they want to talk to you both.
I'll wrap mine up with my response regarding the drinking question, and then you guys can take it. The reason I said that, Kiwi, is that we've asked questions and made statements that require a certain mutual understanding of the topic we're both looking at, and you've either displayed you've refused to consider what we've passed you to mull on, to chew on, and instead fallen back to a set of sort of built-in responses, right? Like you said, you don't like the data I presented because it's got spherical things. And that's just a strange thing for someone to say that's fully willing and capable of engaging in meaningful conversation with another, adult. So it's not me looking down on you. I drink all the time. It's fine. But it doesn't produce good results.
What result are you getting from this unnecessary monologue about nothing? What are you getting from this?
I'm really just giving him a space that he can further critique my
But that was his closing.
My chat.
This is my interrupting his closing. What the hell?
Sorry about that. Apologize.
It's okay.
Oh no,
I engage in these sorts of things because I enjoy the transfer of ideas, and I like to have someone give me something that at the surface is out of this world insane, but give it a moment of thought and consider the possibilities. And all I'm asking,
dude, you are dead air, bro.
Come to these debates is to do the same thing.
The hell you think you just said? You were just You were substanceless. What was that about?
Okay, so
Anyway,
I think I'd like to take. I'll do my closing. I'm gonna do my closing since that was a closing that was directed at me.
Yeah,
So
a debate with the other side.
Negator, I'd like to take a moment just to speak to the fact that I'm here having a chat with you guys. That's fine. There's a lot of numbers that were thrown at us by McToon, and I so very appreciate what he's provided for us for consumption. Now, I'm not in a place mentally. I can honestly say that I've been up since 4:30 this morning, Eastern, to observe and go into his mathematics and look at what he's done. But based on the headings of his title within his columns, there are references to radius, there are references to globe, spherical, all kinds of these natures. So do I in fact know that he didn't presuppose things in his calculations? No. Am I in a place where I'm willing to go through what he's done? No. What I will say is that he's provided it. Cool story, bro, for the people who are willing to consume this. Please realize that from just what I do for a living alone, observing level everywhere is something that every person walking the face of this earth has in common. Parallel to down perpendicular,
except for about
level.
600 astronauts that have been in space. They've personally seen the globe from a distance.
Thank you.
All right, I guess it's my turn. Well, thank you. This has been fun. I showed a data, and I would love it, Kiwi, if you were to at some other time when you went to look at it, the columns that come after the columns I was referring to are just applying the data from the previous columns. All you need to do is look at the three angles that were measured and then the distances that they got, which is in the far right columns. And then go check for yourself. See if they do a sum to more than 180 degrees. Jesse, thank you too for coming. And Negator, it's been good. After this, Negator, if you want to come, you can come over to my channel for a little bit. But we got questions from the audience. I'll stick around for that. From the Discord server here, Shane.
Yep, excellent, great. I mean, actually, I think that went pretty cordial, all things considered.
We got Jesse's closing too.
Right.
Jesse.
We've never seen Earth curve. Not today. Every photo I pulled up, you guys didn't address it honestly, that it didn't show your nice fancy radius values. So if anybody with eyes saw that, then you know why I kind of sound impatient.
Literally showed
like they
the
didn't
radius.
address the argument at all.
Over and over and over.
Have a good one.
All right, man.
Is that it, Jesse? I think it's well stated. But I mean, so yeah, actually, thank everyone for coming. You guys, MC Toon, thanks for taking the time, putting us on the show, giving our server a shout out. Much appreciated. Negator, thanks for the time too. We always appreciate a chat with you. And of course, my boys, Jesse and Kiwi, always appreciate you guys' time. I think we're going to open it up to anyone who's muted. If you want to shout out some questions, we can go with that. And I guess I invite you guys to stay as long as you can stomach it. It might get chaotic.
No, I mean, it's only 11 a.m. I can start drinking now. It might make things better, but
I wanted to talk about reciprocal zenith angles. I didn't even get into my real stuff. That's stuff because I'm talking about.
I was assuming that's what you guys were going to be on the whole time, and I didn't realize you didn't even touch that subject yet.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can do it next one. Maybe we can get Craig at fight the flat Earth to come in next time. I think he joined our server. Good to come check out this one.
I didn't see a single photo showing that radius value.
The floor is open. Anybody can talk now.
I'd like to just make one quick comment. It seems like a lot of these debates end up with did you do it? How do we know you saw it? How do we know that it was accurate and stuff like that? I think in the terms of normally debates, we kind of like, I think you treat the evidence on face value, at least for the sake of the argument, and then you really should comment on that. Verification is something that can be done at a later date, but just stopping the conversation to ask if you did it, I think is counterproductive.
I agree.
Well, the funny thing is, then when you say yes, I've done it, all you hear is no.
That's it. That's it. That was the assessment of what just happened.
Yeah, no, that's the assessment. I don't have a lot of comment, and it just didn't seem like there was a lot of argument.
And I said I need to see it rather than believe it. Cool, man.
No, I'm not saying believe it. I'm saying if this evidence is factual, if it is as presented, what do you make of it is the question being asked. Not is the, you're not supposed to be asking at that time, is the evidence valid? It's more of if it is valid, what do you make of it? That's repeat, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, likewise, a response to an image presented that is, okay, cool picture, but no conclusions are drawn is equally as much of a waste of time. And there were images depicted that were taken by people, not me or MC Toon, but people in this conversation.
Yeah, what you consider evidence is presupposing curvature in data that you compile with observations that don't even match what you're presupposing. So that's just interesting.
I didn't see McToon showing any kind of an assumption in his data. What he did is he came through. He tested it for the three big.
He was literally using
I was talking. Please let me finish.
To show the triangles on a sphere.
I think that I was speaking
before he ever calculated.
Hey, Jesse, stop talking. Jesse, stop talking over somebody. Sober up and stop talking over people.
I mean, you were there, right? You heard that?
Okay, Moryak, please continue.
Yeah, I think that he presented three possible scenarios in his data. He did not just test one. He did not make an assumption of globe. He made an assumption of flat, globe, and concave, at least for the one set of evidence.
So he didn't make an assumption of sphere. He made an assumption of sphere, flat, and concave.
Yes.
Congratulations. He assumed a sphere.
As one of the alternatives, yes.
If you care about finding out the reality, that's what you do, is you test the things. You say, which does it match?
Yeah, the sphere doesn't match your real observations.
But I showed where it did.
Where?
In that last one there. The three measured angles of this triangles summed to more than 180 degrees, which points to one of those three possibilities.
Yeah. Likewise, the photo from Earth is Life. The photo from Earth is Life of the hotels in Hawaii matches the globe prediction.
A very important part of these measurements, the geodetic surveying measurements also, is that those are taken with the surveying gear at horizontal at each location. And you get the 180 degrees, which horizontal at one location on a flat surface should yield 180. So there's another thing going on there. And it's not subject to refraction per se, since it's an azimuthal measurement. If I move something up and down azimuthally, it doesn't change. Like I can move something up 1,000 miles straight up, and I could move it. I can move my azimuth by, my elevation by 1,000 foot, and that will not change my azimuth.
Dude,
so
every time I say show me, it's
relatively
because you can't show me
bulletproof from a
curvature.
refraction standpoint.
That's why you don't want to have to show me, because you can't.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be showing you. What are you asking? Do you
Curvature.
realize that if I point a compass at, let's say, 90 degrees, and I look up at an airplane, it's at 90 degrees, and the tower below it's at 90 degrees, it's 90 degrees is a direction, and it applies to all elevations from that point. The azimuth will still be the same. So I can a little bit of refraction, half a degree, on the horizon, a degree on the horizon, would not change my azimuthal measurements.
Okay, that shows you Earth curve.
Yes.
No, the result of all the azimuths being added together and equaling greater than 180 indicates high likelihood that it's Earth curve, because there's not a refraction answer to it. So the optical measurement is a very solid method of doing the measurement.
All right, let me see it.
Well, I mean,
But
Muna,
you
man,
did see it.
You
You
mentioned
can't see it.
you mentioned geodetic surveying, dude, right? But the definition right here is the branch of surveying which deals with areas so extensive that it's necessary to take into consideration the true shape and dimensions of the Earth, right?
That's
So
not what
it doesn't actually.
Yeah, that's why I kept
Shane,
chanting presuppose.
Well, hold
Shane.
on.
Drill it into the conversation.
I'll explain
so
it.
It made it fair.
Yeah,
It
but
just
you
assumes
skip
that first dimensions
jump
must be
right
known,
past
right, to enable the exact compute. That's all.
All right, you ready for me to? So in this particular measurement, I showed they were just raw data. It makes no presumptions about anything. It's the angle of the vertices of a triangle. That's all. Raw data, angles.
Right.
Yeah,
I actually
that's all it
wasn't
is.
critiquing your evidence at all. I was critiquing
Okay.
Win Man's invocation of geodetic surveying.
Okay, yeah, this wasn't like, this was just surveying. They didn't have classifications.
Right. Gotcha.
So Jesse, a question
This
for
is
you.
one of the tools of geodetic surveys.
Yes, yeah. Jesse, what are you
What's up?
expecting when you're like, show me curvature? What is it that you're hoping to see or receive? Anything?
Do you understand why why I say that azimuthal measurements are very accurate as opposed to horizon observations and stuff like that?
Because left to right refraction is not a thing.
Exactly.
Right.
Really? You sure about that?
Yes.
Not a common thing. I've never seen my compass point at the wrong bridge when I'm out
Well,
on my boat.
That's not a compass isn't about left to right refraction. That left to right refraction
No.
is, yeah, you need a temperature gradient or some sort of an index of refraction gradient to cause that type of refraction, and you don't have these things horizontally. They're stacked vertically. So that's why horizontal refraction isn't a factor. But the other thing is, at these locations, they measure not just one angle, they measure multiple angles. They measure all the way around 180 degrees, and any refraction affects that. But they track these things, and they do the error testing, so that when they do the full circle all the way around, there's only 100 or 360 degrees. So all the angles that they're measuring to have a sum of just 360 degrees. They do it then also multiple times throughout the day for many days.
So you just can't see it though, right?
No, they can see it.
What do you want to see?
I want to see Earth curve.
Okay, please be specific. You want to see something else? What would you
How can
accept?
I be more specific than
What would you accept as Earth curve? Be very specific.
A picture of it.
A picture of what?
Earth curve.
The left to right curve of the horizon?
MORE8.
I mean, I made my argument very simple, man. I just didn't see Earth curve today. I just didn't.
What I'm asking you then, what specifically would you accept as Earth curve? What are you expecting to see? So to be honest, to be an honest person, to say, yes, I would accept this as evidence for the Earth being a sphere. What is that specifically?
I doubt I'm ever going to see Earth curve, man.
You didn't answer the question.
Question.
If you can't answer the question, you're being dishonest.
Well, I mean, like, why can't you just pull out thousands of images of it?
Why don't you tell him what evidence you would accept, like he asked? Tell me the evidence you'll accept.
I know why. I know why. I know why you won't say it, because I'll give it to you and then you're going to be stuck in a corner and you're going to have to squirm.
Let's see what you show me,
No,
bro.
no, no. You tell me right now what it is that you'll accept first, so that when I show it to you, you have to show that you're a hypocrite. Tell me what it is that you'll accept.
Yeah, you do this weird thing where you like monologue and set up where you think.
Tell me what you will accept. Tell me what you will accept.
Coming at the globe, you don't gotta take my.
Tell me what you will accept. Why can't you tell me what you'll accept? Jesse, why won't you tell me what you'll accept as evidence?
How many times you gotta repeat
Why
yourself?
won't you tell me what you'll accept? Because you're dishonest, Jesse. You don't want to get stuck in a corner. You know that I'm going to give you exactly what you want.
Sorry,
it's difficult to know what to accept, right? Because then you're going to put forth like light, and then you got to explain how light works. Then you got to put forth the ground and explain how the ground works. So it is difficult to pre-name what you're going to accept.
Yeah.
Based on behind what concept.
Would you accept? Would you accept a photograph?
What I would accept.
Would you accept a photograph of left to right curve?
In 2 hours, like you act like
what would you accept a photograph of left to right curve?
Now you're acting like a broken record. Like I don't want to listen to this.
Are you running away from this? Why not just say what you'll accept? It's not hard.
Dude, we just debated for 2 hours about what I wanted to accept.
No, you never said what you would accept. Everything I presented, you hand wave rejected. So what would you accept?
Is anybody else tired of him repeating
Stand
himself?
up, be bold, be brave, and courageous, and say what you will accept for evidence.
You did not show me an observation of.
What will you accept? I'll be glad to show it to you. What do you want?
I've been waiting.
Tell me what you will accept.
I showed you all kinds of stuff today.
Tell me what you will accept. Why are you scared of that?
Dude.
Jesse, how about this? Instead of laying out to MC Toon what you will accept, how about you describe what you think it should look like, and then we can go find observations that match that description.
Screwed him.
I've been saying since the beginning of the debate, you don't have any actual measurements of Earth curve. Every observation, every measurement you take,
Jesse,
you don't see Earth
measurement or observation. Which one? Make up your mind.
Match the circumference of the supposed shape of the Earth.
But that didn't answer my question.
Show me a measurement. You didn't. You showed me presupposed spherical excess triangle type stuff. That's what you did.
I showed him specific measurements.
400 years ago.
Yes, you did. That's what that is.
I showed him.
How that's presupposed?
I showed him measurements.
Presupposing the
he doesn't want to get stuck on what observations he'll accept.
It's the other way around.
Well, we could agree to disagree because this was my point.
You can agree that you're an idiot, that you don't know this because Snellius did this 400 years ago. This is
you want to actually argue or just be angry because I don't believe in freaking magic?
Because you're an idiot and you don't understand how it works. Exactly.
Well done. Very, very good contribution. Thank you so much for your time, Pete Nessa Show.
You're welcome. Because this guy's a freaking idiot. Snellius did this 400 years ago.
If there were such thing as
well known.
There'd be pictures flying at me of it, and I didn't get that today.
Well, let me put it to you like this, right? If you say, "Hey, Negator, I want you to go into the mountains, and I want you to catch a fucking a marmot," right? Because I live in Colorado back home. And there's marmots up there. But let's just assume I've never seen a marmot before, and you want me to get one for you. So then I would ask you, man, what does a marmot even look like? And where do they live? And can you just describe its color to me? And what sort of method should I employ to capture this marmot? Don't you think all those questions would be relevant to your request that I find you a marmot?
Why not just say Earth curve? Yeah, I want to see Earth curve. You're damn right.
Right. But again, if you said, Negator, find me a marmot, and I say, okay, describe it to me, and you're like, well, just find me a fucking marmot. It should be easy. It doesn't help me find you a marmot. Right, Jesse?
Dude, what is a marmot, or did you make it up for this example?
Marmots are no. They look like land beavers. They live above the tree line. Well, I don't know if they live above. They live. That's about where they live. They're like big cats.
Is that what it is? Is that the gift?
Why not just talk about Earth curve rather than marmots?
Because the analogy I think fits. Now I know what a marmot looks like, and I could probably figure out how to capture you one. But if I didn't, I would need you to describe it to me. So when MC Toon says, "What are you looking for? Can you describe it to me?" That's where you then come back and give us parameter. Tell us visually what it should be. Tell us how we should go about doing it. And you're not doing that, which makes it very, very hard.
Of the ground curving 8 inches per mile squared.
Okay, and if the ground curved 8 inches per mile squared,
and make sure that it's the actual radius, any piece of the ground.
If the Earth curves 8 inches per mile squared, what sort of effect would that have on objects in your picture?
What?
Well, because if I just go walk outside, you say, take me a picture of a curving 8 inches per mile squared, and I stand on my road and look down and take a picture. Well, my premise is it's already doing that. So therefore, I provided you a picture of Earth curving. But reasonably,
a simple premise for a debate. I want to see Earth curve. I don't want to be a flat earther no more. Make me a glober again. Show me an observation, convert it to data, and it's 8 inches per mile squared. You didn't do that today. You presupposed the curve.
It's in the chat right there.
I'm done.
There's one in the chat. There's a bunch in the chat. Exactly what you asked for.
It's a regular conversation, guys. Like, I'm not going to handle this like a formal debate anymore.
All right. Any other questions?
I have a picture of an actual marmot that I took. Do you want to see that?
Yeah, I want to see it.
All right, hang on.
Definitely do. Let me see that. Let me see that marmot.
Where the fuck do you live to see marmots? What?
Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado. Above the tree line. They're all over.
Really?
Yeah, big fluffy rats, think of it.
That's awesome.
They're in Washington, too.
Roland has a question. Roland, my boulder, has a question.
How come he's not speaking? Is he in here?
He's in here. Unmute yourself, Roland.
All right, speak up, homie. Louder than that.
Oh,
it's up to your mic.
Might still be using the same tinfoil mic he was using the other day.
Switch to the wrong mic again, I think.
All right. I posted pictures of marmots. Whether you acknowledge that marmots exist based on them is up to you.
Dude, that looks like a paid NASA marmot to me. Immediately, I don't believe it. I don't buy it. That's horseshit.
I can't look
at you, little furry rat. I don't know.
The background, it looks like CGI, so I don't fucking know. Like those mountains, there's like some fade in the background.
You know what? That background is too pretty. I'm not buying it either. You're right.
Fuck it.
It is. Colorado's amazing. Do you want a video? Would a video suffice?
Ooh, maybe.
But I'll look at it.
Amazingly well camouflaged, believe it or not.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm breathing heavy in this video. I don't know if I want to. It was like 14,000 feet.
We'll only bust your balls a little, and then never again. Don't worry about it.
I had full intention of talking about zenith angles and reciprocating from non-paranormal. I wish we got into that.
Okay, MC Toon, I fixed my mic troubles.
Oh,
hey, there he is.
All right, go ahead, Roland.
And my question is that I want to claim. I want any claim.
The observations that you take measurements of in reality when you don't observe Earth curvature, that's because that's the shape of the Earth. That's the claim.
State that again, and then I want, and then give me some data.
Well, hopefully you were paying attention during the stream. There was a whole bunch of data.
No data was given.
No, you said a claim just now, right? Say that one more time for me, and then back it up.
It's just like, what the heck? Why do people act like they weren't just listening?
Okay, anybody else got a claim?
Or a marmot video? Anyone? I'm into this
Shane,
now.
you're kind of a pro. Do you have a claim?
A claim against you? No.
No, a claim. Not against me.
Oh.
I didn't say that. I said a claim.
Like a claim of fact with supporting data.
Oh, Jesse, supporting data is step 2. Let's just get through step 1.
Sorry, I'm antsy.
Yeah, everyone is. But let's get through the claim part. Never mind the data. So, Shane, do you have a claim?
No, I don't have any claim for you.
No,
Is that-
I don't have a claim.
so your question was to ask me a question?
No, my question is there a claim?
Yeah,
Something from
pretending that you
McToon. He said in the
It
chat,
seems like
"Hey,
there's not.
McToon,
It
I have
seems
a
like
question."
it seems like the
just pretending you didn't hear what just happened doesn't mean
there
the
you go.
thing just
Phrased as a question for you, Jesse. It is, do you have a claim? You can answer. Anyone else can answer.
Here goes a claim. Rewind the tape.
Why do I have to read the tape? Just say it again.
Rowan.
I bet
I think
Toon
you've probably
would. I
seen.
bet Toon would say yes. I bet Toon would say his claim in a heartbeat. But I don't want to go there because I already know this because I've listened to it. So much is boring. I want to hear
Not
a
even
flat
really
earther
his claim.
make
All he
any
has to
claim.
do is Google his claims, so it's not really his.
I don't want to attack his claims. I want to hear your claim. This is your time to shine.
Was your
Yeah, you don't
question
tell me
more
when I
like,
shine,
"Hey,
bro. I'm
McToon, do you mind if I take over?" Was that your question for McToon?
Do you think? Yeah.
I do not have a question directed to McToon. I have a question directed to you, and then I would like to hear McToon respond to your claim.
What's the question?
I didn't want him to run away and leave because I really wanted him to react to an actual claim. From you,
Yeah,
from
that's
Kiwi,
act
from
like nothing
Shane.
happened. Act completely oblivious to everything that just happened.
I didn't hear you make any claims. I didn't hear you make any claims.
I don't care that that's what you think happened.
Okay, can someone else tell me what the claim was that Jesse made that I missed by being neglectful?
There is
Anyone
no
here?
curvature. That was Jesse's claim.
Oh, Shane steps up. There you go, Toon. We've got step 1. There
You
is no
didn't
curvature.
know that's what's been happening for the past 2 hours? You had no idea?
Right? We've
And
been
then the
talking about
data
it for
is
a long
next.
time.
Like, oh my goodness. Oh, curvature. You guys
Yeah,
talked about
we
curvature?
got step
And
1.
I didn't know.
Well, that's not what I
Where
heard,
the hell
Jesse.
have you
That's-
been,
I
bro?
mean, I
You live
heard.
under fucking rock under.
This is a step in the right direction, guys.
I heard Jesse
did I
speak
hear
You
earlier
are
a little
trying
bit
to walk
differently.
this into the wrong direction right now. That's why you're doing it.
the video of that little boat that was circling the yellow buoy? Did I hear something wrong? Was somebody claiming that was at 36 miles?
That's what was stated in the video for a different observation.
Okay, so it was not the little boat with the yellow buoy. Okay.
No, not the
Okay.
buoy. No, not the buoy. I know I said it right while the buoy's on the screen, but it was the clip right before that.
Okay, because I was going to say that was nowhere near 36 miles away.
I was well aware of that when I said it, and I knew I could have corrected it. Didn't.
That's
Sorry,
just
but yeah, you're right.
clarification.
That buoy is clearly not at 36 miles. That's correct. That's the observation claims to be at 36 miles right there, I think, right? No, wrong video. Sorry.
Yeah, because an 18-foot boat 36 miles away would be like 0.0005 degrees.
Well, he was zooming in.
Yeah, but the P900 only zooms to what, half a degree? Field of view?
Well, there could be lensing going on in the atmosphere too. I don't know.
No, because you can measure things using, for the most part, left to right. You can use to measure objects. So, like, I take the angular size of a boat, left to right, and get the actual length of that boat.
Sure.
And
well, the
virtually any
video
distance.
detailed the observation very well. That's why I pulled it up. I pulled up those clips specifically if you want to go through it.
All right. Is there any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to pop out.
I'd like to ask a question, please. Could I ask a question?
Yeah, Brenda.
The flat earthers, why don't different observers see different sides of the moon when they observe the moon at the same time, at the same night?
Why would they?
Because different places on the Earth, on the planet, should different sides.
Brenda, I don't know if it's
Brenda's
your mic or your
chopping out.
connection, but yeah.
My mic, I'm doing the best I can.
Maybe I could summarize.
Because the idea of a physical object being local would make, on a flat map, yeah, you should see the other side of the moon on a flat map if it were a physical object that was local. But that's not my question. I don't say that it's physical.
Right, we're not supposing it's a ball flying in space, but we also, like, if you put a picture of a moon on your ceiling and look at it from one end and then move to the other end, you see what you see in our sky.
No. Could I summarize what Brenda said there? Shane, for you, not for Jesse. If the Earth is flat, then people on where the GP of the moon is opposite of each other, right? So maybe they're 180 degrees opposite each other, GP of the moon. If the moon is local, then you would see it nearly opposite view of the moon for flat Earth. I think that's a summary of what Brenda was saying.
Yeah, thank you. The mic is bad on my iPhone. On my phone.
You mean like you would see it upside down?
No, you'd see an entirely different portion of the moon.
If it was a spherical 3D rock floating over, you mean floating locally over Earth?
Yes.
Is that what we're proposing for this observation? Oh, that's why it makes no sense to me.
I'm just asking the explanation for why people don't see different parts of the moon.
Right, but the question you're asking is like built on two presuppositions that we're not even ready for. That's why we're looking at it like, what are you talking about?
Then just answer.
Because
but you could just ignore those presuppositions and explain why you don't see different.
First,
different
you explain the presupposition first, right?
Right, so we're not saying that it's a local body. We're not saying that it's a 3D rock floating in space. Right, so it's most of us think that it's just there. It's a projection or a light source. That's what it is. It's a light in the sky.
Yeah.
Why
So how does that
see
work?
the back of the moon on a flat Earth? You never see the back of a moon on any Earth, but we're assuming in the flat Earth model we should see it backwards. We should see the opposite side of the dark side of the moon that no one's ever seen. That's a weird question.
If I had a light bulb on my seat and I walked to the other side, I'd see the other side of that light bulb.
Yeah, Shane, I'm not asking, and Brenda, I don't think is asking for what you're not seeing and why you're not seeing and telling me what it not is. I'm asking
Exactly what he
what
asked.
it is. Tell us what
No,
it
that's exactly
is.
that's exactly what Brenda asked, like to the T. What you're saying, Brenda did not ask is exactly what Brenda asked.
Personally, I don't think it's a solid object. I'm not speaking for all flat earthers, so I think we
don't
see.
say what it not is. You just said what it not is. Tell us what it is.
Okay, well, what we do see is a light in the sky, right? The light in the sky that presents the same face to everyone everywhere on Earth every time it's seen. Sometimes it's upside down from the southern hemisphere to the northern hemisphere, but it is in fact the same face of the moon we always see, right? So the question, assuming why don't we see the back of it on this crazy space disk in space, is kind of absurd.
But I'm not asking
Well, we do
for the negative.
see different.
Asking for
we
the positive
do see some
explanation.
things that are interesting. We do see some things that are interesting, like people at opposite sides of the Earth can see more of one side or the other of it slightly. So I'm not mistaken about that, right?
It does this like little, like what, 2-degree wobble or something?
They could see 2 degrees more of the edge, kind of indicating to me that it's a 3D object.
You're also
1 or
saying
2
that
degrees.
people in Australia see the moon while people in North are seeing the moon. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
No, I'm saying that like the left-hand side, let's say there's a crater right on the left-hand side, and you go all the way over to, on Earth to the left-hand side, and you look up there, you'll be able to see that whole crater will be obscured from the other side of the Earth.
You see different portion, slightly different portion, but not a significantly different portion.
I just wanted to know
very
what the explanation is. What is your explanation, flat earthers? What is it then?
That's what I tried to say before. It's a projection. It's not a solid object. And besides, if I'm going to assume that there's a floating sphere in the sky, you're going to have to explain how, demonstrate it.
No, all you have to know is that it is a floating sphere.
No, you don't have to demonstrate floating spheres. Well, I don't got to believe that the moon is a floating sphere.
You just have to demonstrate it's a sphere. You don't have to demonstrate how it did it.
So here's a
Yeah,
I can send
you don't have to do anything for your bot.
people. It's not hard to do radar surveys of the moon. Here, I just put a link in chat there so you can see it. Radar survey of the moon. Radar's been bounced off of it, and it's been mapped.
Yeah,
we believe in the moon
amateur
landing. We all know.
amateur radio operators did that all the time.
Did they
And
bounce
many
off the backside of it, or was it only the front?
Dude, even
Yeah, and
Culver's
all the
completely-
craters are named after Jesuit priests. It's all cute and nice. We love it. It's great.
So,
once they-
that's
once
just
the craters
hand
have-
waving evidence. But so, all right, guys, I'm gonna head out. Negator, if you want, you can come on over. But I'm gonna do a little bit just on my channel for a bit. Thanks for having me.
In all seriousness, thanks for coming.
Yeah, it was really nice. Have a good one.
All right, we'll see y'all later.
Was he saying
Yeah.
that shooting waves off the front of the moon proves that there's only one face of the moon? Sound like
Just
that's what-
Ooh. Bouncing radar off the moon confirms that the moon is there, that it's not just a projection. But they did definitely, and they always do this, right? They never want to talk about flat Earth, right? Explain for us how flat Earth works. Well, globe. No. Tell us how flat Earth works. Oh, we don't want to do that. So, all right, I'm going to, let's see if Negator wants to come in here. All right, adding Negator. Just making a voice call to Negator. We'll see. That was a whole lot of dumb, says Facty. Yes. It was. All right. Negator.
Howdy.
Welcome. Now, we have not hardly spoken at all, and we did just a couple DMs before, but thank you. That was very nice. I like your approach.
I appreciate that.
I had a couple super chats I was just about to get to here. Shovelhead Steve says a condescending tone from the Flurf is comical. I really did enjoy when Jesse was refusing to say what he would accept.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like there's a point in these conversations with these guys where their defenses they put their defense up so hard. It's like they know that if they're willing to entertain the thought that you're presenting them, that they're going to incriminate themselves. So they sort of manually turn their brain off, you know?
Yep. And that is that. My intention sometimes is to just show how ridiculous they are and how they are not open. They are not open-minded. They are not looking for truth. They are hostile to truth, hostile to evidence. And boy, Jesse really showed that today.
Yeah. Well, you know, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I've had moments of lucidity or rather, I've been able to speak to Jesse when he was more lucid, and had what I felt was a productive conversation where the majority of the time was me explaining something and him saying, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And of course, we didn't get anywhere close to that today.
Kiwi got defensive instantly when you asked about consuming some alcohol, and I thought Jesse was also quite modified.
Yeah, it's just he's fallen asleep on Discord in this channel with these folks several times. But yeah, Kiwi was. Yeah, he was being belligerent.
I think Kiwi's a little nicer. Jesse's condescending all the time. I mean, they both were, but
yeah. I appreciate the comments in the chat, by the way, from those folks that said something.
The Discord chat?
In your chat, some of your followers.
Oh, on the live stream? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do the full on like live debates very often or ever, mostly because of time, and you know, I don't have a channel to worry about, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you allowing me to co-star.
Well, hey, I like your angle, and sometimes I come in and like with Jesse, because for people that didn't know, a couple days ago I was on there and Jesse and I had a conversation, so there's a little bit of history with him, and I tried to leave it, but he picked up where it left off and was hostile immediately.
Yeah.
The goalpost moving is fascinating. I even predicted it when Kiwi asked me for measurements and data.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I know
Yeah,
what they're going to say.
It's just such a. It feels like such a waste of time sometimes. When they're not willing to like chew on a thought with you, you know, it's like it's almost just disrespectful in a way, you know.
Oh, it certainly is. And it is. I think it is for them because they're in a cult. They have a religious position that's very clear, and he said it he without saying it, that he will not be moved, right? His position is what it is, and there is no evidence that he will accept. Right? Jesse specifically refused to state what he would accept. But to be fair, what would we accept for evidence for flat Earth? Right? For me, I would accept a photograph of high elevation that is seeing too far for real, or a even from, you know, not from a rocket or something, but from the top of the Empire State Building, or a tall thing in a tall building in New York. Well, you should be able to see pretty far because you can see the stars immediately above the horizon. So light can get through the low atmosphere. They always say that you can't see distant things because the atmosphere is too thick. But if you can see the stars, certainly light can get through it. It's not too thick for the stars to get through.
For sure.
So the lights from London. Why could you not see the lights from London with a telescope when you're in New York? If the light from the stars could get there, the light from London certainly could.
Absolutely, and it's thoughts like that, like to me, that make this sort of thing interesting. Is how do I convey this idea to somebody, you know, in a way that they're able to swallow, or at least to chew on a little bit. And when people put their defenses up, it makes that very, very difficult. Which is why I try to be. You know, I've had my bouts of yelling and screaming and name calling in this sort of arena, and tried not to do that because it's not good for your mental health, for one. But you know, I try to be calm and approach it with a, you know, like that quote from Anne Frank about, you know, all people are generally good at heart. And obviously, I'm not saying these people are as bad as the people she was talking about. You know, but I try to give people benefit of the doubt and sort of let them see that I'm open. My brain, my heart is open. I'll listen, I'll talk, I'll treat you respectfully. And sometimes I feel like I can get through to people a little bit easier like that. But other times, like tonight, where, you know, belligerent and they've got their mind made up, just wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, people like your marmots. Bruce Davis's Marmotini. I think it's a new beverage.
I hope it doesn't taste like marmots. They don't look very like they taste good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've got a few flurfs in my chat here. Got some the regulars bite Mahagus. 77 Conspiracies has actually been on here. He's I forgot his actual name. He could put it in there, but he 77 Conspiracies. What would you accept as evidence for the shape of the Earth? Let's see what he says in the chat there. And a lot of the time you can tell that they're being dishonest if they do answer the question, because you can tell that that's not the standard of evidence that they use to accept flat Earth evidence, right? It's a different standard. And that's a classic science denier technique to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, something I try hard to do and I very rarely succeed is get them to agree to a set of standards and then throw either side's evidence into the mix and make sure it meets those standards. Like I was doing with the CN Tower obstruction versus non-obstruction.
Yeah.
And that just didn't click, I guess.
77 Conspiracy says, I would have to not be able to see too far. Well, that's easy. Every one of the measurements, every one of these claimed see too far photographs matches the globe. When we actually do the globe math. When you do the wrong globe math that Eric Dubay gave to us from Samuel Rowbotham, all the wrong math, well, yeah, but that's not how it works on the globe. So don't be fooled by those things, 77 Conspiracies. Unless you want to be fooled and believe lies, right? Do the math right. Then test it.
So I've been trying to come up with a line of thought that is easy to understand. And mostly I haven't put a lot of work into it. If we can see too far, shouldn't that mean that sometimes we see the sun too far and we have longer days than we would expect if Earth is a globe?
Yeah.
And if, given that these things should, are or would be true, isn't there should be a way to put a model together for them to see, and I like to use like average daylight hours by latitude, and I've got some graphics for that. But I can't get them to accept that, well, if you see boats too far, you should see the sun too far, and I'm not sure how to move that argument forward in my mind.
Now, I did mention, all right, so I said in the thing that if you're on the outside of a sphere, the angles would sum to more than 180. If you're on a flat plane, they would be 180. And if you're on the inside of a sphere, they would be less than 180. And people are correcting me, if you're on a saddle structure or a hyperbolic structure, they would be less than 180. True for those, but if you're on the inside of a sphere, how is that different than a hyperbolic structure in the summation of the angles? I guess somebody could come to that later. Send me a message in Discord with that. Can't process that at the moment. So, all right. I should. I have a few more things to read here, Jesse, Negator, and then I'm gonna probably wrap it up. I have a fun thing that's coming out. I'll let you know before I do this. I have 3.5 years ago, I did a gravity challenge, a $10,000 gravity challenge, where the prize was to win $10,000 from the money that Flat Out Hero owes me. Now, about a year ago, he confirmed that he owes me that money. He had been reluctant to acknowledge that because I did on my my flight charts. I did exactly what he demanded, but he has confirmed that he owes it to me. Anyway, people know, flat earthers know, Flat Out Hero's not good for the money. So I have the same 0.4 Bitcoin still sitting there from the Celestial Navigation Challenge, untouched. So I'm updating my gravity challenge to offer that money, real money that's held in escrow by somebody else.
You said it's a Bitcoin?
It's 0.4 Bitcoin. It's actually $10,000, or if the current value of Bitcoin is not high enough, then all of the 0.4 Bitcoin will go to them. So.
Well, obviously, MC Toon, the actual reason they haven't collected the Bitcoin is they're waiting for the value to rise again. So obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the exchange rate for the day. But right now, it would be all 0.4 Bitcoin. So they could get all 0.4 Bitcoin and then wait for the value to rise again and then exchange it for fiat currency at their leisure.
Oh, well, that's a good point, man. See, I didn't think very far ahead of that one.
So anyway, the challenge is I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's been a while, but it's they flat earthers give lots of vague words for what causes the downward acceleration, but nobody ever gives an actual testable hypothesis. And certainly nobody ever gives anything that's quantifiable, right? Here's how it happens, and it predicts this particular value. The globe does, right? If you take the mass of the globe, the law of gravitational attraction, the radius of the globe, centrifugal acceleration, you put all those together, and we get about 9.8 meters per second squared, but it varies all over the Earth based on latitude and elevation. Using those couple things, we can get to about 0.1% of the measured value. So the challenges to flat earthers is to use whatever it is that you think causes the downward acceleration to give the specific magnitude. And we will compare them to 10 different locations. I'll pick 5, they pick 5. Whoever's closest wins. Costs them nothing to enter. And if they lose nothing. Costs them nothing to enter, and if they win, they get everything. So I'm taking all the risk. How many will accept?
Do you have a wide range of like flat earther interaction either on your channel or in your chat, or is it always just the same small group of people?
Oh no, I have a lot. I have about 3.5 years of debate every Tuesday with flat earthers.
How many different flat earthers do you think you've debated?
It's between 1 and 200.
Wow.
Like kind
I
of
didn't know.
More formally, but of course debates in quotes because they don't generally bring anything, you know.
Sure, yeah. But they know you exist and potentially come back and listen to the things that you say.
Yeah, and there's 2 or 3 in the live chat right now. Sometimes we got 77 conspiracies and Bite Mahagas, and we had Gary Wybenga was in here earlier.
That guy is something else.
Just firing off rapid fire claim after claim after claim about perspective, field of view, compression stuff. None of it. Just making claims. That's it.
Yep.
Eric Erpelding. Of course they could not use Newton's law of gravitation. That's specifically what they say doesn't happen. They specifically say mass does not attract mass, and they have to, because if the Earth is flat and mass attracts mass, it would collapse. There it is. It would collapse into a sphere. It's too big. It's beyond the potato radius. So Captain Crunch says, I'm recently a flurf since I discovered my refrigerator uses NASA cold moonlight technology. Do you hear them say much that they think that moonlight is cold?
I gotta think about that joke one more time. Let me run that over my head. The refrigerator is using cold moonlight technology. Yeah, I don't know, that argument seemed to have fallen off a couple years ago. I didn't know too many of them were still making it.
It comes and goes. So yeah, I had a guy back a while ago that made the claim, and I'm like, tell you what, I'll do a $10,000 challenge on that too. So I'm nearing completion on that particular challenge. So I'll have soonly I'll have another one on cold moonlight as well. We've got, let's see. Indie Tiger's sci-fi review says MC Toon, I mean Negator in my super chat. I don't even see a super chat from you there.
From me?
Oh, there it is. Can Negator explain the beaver cat that is the marmot again?
I mean, a beaver cat is really the extent of my descriptive abilities because I don't know much about them. So they'll basically eat out of your hand in the mountains. I don't know if because the mountain lions don't go up there or they just see enough hikers. But yeah, those rocky areas, they like to live where there's just rocks, you know, and a little bit of grass to eat.
That's pretty cool. All right,
they're pretty big. So.
I'm going to read the. You're welcome to stick around. The chat may have some stuff for you. But I got a couple things I need to read here. P. Barnes says, these pivots are making me dizzy. He had some pivots for sure. Then let's see. Was it you before you got there, Negator? It was Kiwi wondered, what's the drop over 100 miles? And of course they don't have an observation. So I'm like, well, here's the formula. I don't want the formula, I want the number. Well, no, I'll give you the formula. You can do your own work yourself. So I gave him the formula. And Stringer News 1 then says, formula, Toon, you can't you express it in meme form?
What?
They only understand memes, you know.
Oh, meme. I thought you said mean, like implying an average in meme form. Yeah, well.
Yeah.
It's got a point.
I suppose all right, people, let's make a meme of the formulas in meme form. The Sun Express says, I'm in Chicago right now, about 80 feet above ground. Can't see any part of New Buffalo except for very rare days with hella atmospheric activity. Where's New Buffalo? I don't know where New Buffalo is.
I think hella should be a unit of measurement. It seems applicable to this conversation.
Yeah. Well, I like to use things based on sheep. So like, how long is that? Well, that's one sheep length. And how much does that weigh? Well, that weighs the same as a 4-year-old ewe.
Well, how many marmots is a sheep, though?
Yes, we definitely need a conversion from sheep units to marmot units. All right, New Buffalo. Where is New Buffalo? There's New Buffalo. All right. So it's at the somewhat southern tip, but it's across. All right, yeah. So it's not far from where Nowicki's photograph was taken.
Mm-hmm.
But and you missed the beginning. They showed that blurry video of across Lake Pontchartrain. They didn't know the height, and they didn't know the distance. The guy in the video said it was 18 miles, which I'll accept.
Sure.
But I asked Jesse, well, how did you get that 18 miles? And he goes to Google Maps. I go, but Jesse, Google Maps presupposes the radius of the Earth. You can't complain that I presuppose the radius of the Earth in some of my evidence if you are presupposing the radius of the Earth in the measurement you're citing.
Yeah.
So what's the distance for the black swan? Oh, you can't presuppose the radius of the Earth, though.
Yeah, you have to lay out rulers end to end until you figure out the distance.
It's the only way. You have to have a tape measure.
Was that one of those like the refracted tops of the Chicago skyline?
They only briefly showed the Chicago skyline, but yeah, you missed the bottom of it. It was the one from Nowicki that they did show, which of course you can't see the bottom. And you made a good point. I really liked this line of reasoning. Sometimes you see the bottom, sometimes you don't see it, or sometimes it's cut off, and sometimes you don't see it at all. Clearly something is happening. So let's look at both claims and look at their explanations for what causes it and see which one has a plausible mechanism.
Yeah, it's that definitely wraps up my line of reasoning more succinctly than I did. When that Joshua Nowicki stuff first came out, I remember I took that image or a similar image and then cut up the Chicago skyline, and you can clearly make out that there's really about half the buildings visible, and that they're stretched by about twice their proportion. So at a minimum, the those photos should force acknowledgement that something weird is going on that needs an explanation. I'm also getting asked to ask you who Mallory is.
Mallory is a flat earther that most people think is not actually a flat earther. She's really funny. She has her own Discord server where people in there enjoy it entirely too much. She fancies herself a furry. She's got a thing for feet. Little bit of a footsie thing going. But she's pretty fun. I've had her on quite a few times, and she's always a lot of fun. Some people just really enjoy her, and some people cannot stand her.
She like there's another female flutter through that's out of her mind. I can't remember her name. I'll remember it later. But anywho, if since given that she's a furry, you're welcome to use my marmot photos for whatever purpose you think that might help you.
She
in your
might
conversation.
enjoy that too much.
There's probably a photo of me with my feet in the picture as well. I could find that
with the marmot.
With the marmot, yeah.
Judy, you got this. Wants me to say Lake Titicaca. Are you watching the live stream video?
Yeah, I'm switching back and forth.
Okay, just this. I unveiled this guy tonight. It's my 1 gallon mason jar. So there it is, everybody.
What is that? That's just water, or
it's Toon shine. So normally I drink out of this. This is a quart ball mason jar. But then I saw sitting on the shelf in the other room over there, this one that my wife's mom had given to us, which was in her basement. It's been there for a long time. It's an old style mason jar. I'm like, hold on, that's a half gallon. Neat. I wonder if they make a gallon one. Well, they do. It's labeled as novelty. This doesn't have threads on the top. You couldn't actually jar with it, but anyway, so I started out small with the previous debate. I started with this one, and I just kept moving up to bigger mason jars until I got to this guy.
Okay, well, you know that I've got a new. That looks pretty cool. Okay, yeah, you're there's a little bit of a delay on your video. I can hear you bumping things around.
Yeah.
So, actually, I got a new debate format for you, and it's specifically built for people like Jesse and Kiwi.
Okay.
Where at the beginning of the debate, you showed how much you're going to drink, and you have a time to drink it all, right?
Oh.
Like each of you has to consume 20 ounces of whatever by, the first 15 minutes, and every 15 minutes of the debate, and see where it goes.
Ooh. And would these have more proof than Eric DeBay's 200 proofs?
Maybe. I'm just trying to even the playing field is all. So.
Yeah, that'd be fair. That would be fair. All right. Let me keep going here. String News 1 says Globers bring data, Flurfs bring lore. Oh, that's a good way of putting it. Because they were playing Dubé's video where he's making claims about ships being seen, right? And that was from Jesse, right? And Jesse then later to me is like, I want to see. Did you do this yourself? Like, wait a second. You played a video of a book being read from 140 years ago by observations that there's no photographs of, and we have no way of confirming any of these things. We don't know the distances. And distance stuff of a ship at that time, 140 years ago, you don't know how far that ship was away at the time.
Well, obviously he does, because it was in this book.
It was in the book.
Well, I missed an opportunity when Kiwi is initially accusing me of referencing refraction as if that's some sort of bad thing. And Jesse turns around immediately and says, obviously there's miraging in the photo I provided. Like, how do you guys want to approach this?
Which is it? Yeah, and when you show from the same video of the claimed black swan, where he's at a higher elevation and there's no strong refraction, and the bottom of the structures are obstructed. Right? What is that? Oh, well, that's refraction. oh, it is, or it's perspective, or it's this, right? They're ready then to throw out all sorts of things, right? And then that goes back to, well, which one has a plausible mechanism, right? And which one doesn't? And we can give the prediction for a globe for how much should be obstructed bottom up with increasing distance. No flat earther has ever produced a mechanism for predicting the bottom up obstruction due to insert reason here. They'll come back with, oh, it depends on these things. Okay, well then let's have those in the formula.
So I drew a super basic drawing for one of them, Travis, Plane Truth, I think. Yes, yeah. That depicted this idea that there could be bottom-up obstruction on a flat Earth, and it basically requires your line of sight to arc up and down from point to point on the surface in order to make the far point appear at the top of the sagitta. Yeah. But it has to do that successively and for different observers, right? Because if I walk closer to like the Statue of Liberty, more and more becomes visible, indicating that every single point along that line is arcing up and down. But the problem, of course, is that those arcs intersect each other for different observers.
Yeah.
But that idea, I haven't been able to sort of get across in a way they understand as far as like why this doesn't make sense. Never mind the mechanism required for a change in medium that arcs one point on the surface, to your eyes successively.
Yeah, because the surface, the refraction applies to the surface as well.
Yeah.
And so the surface, the refraction effects from the surface have to be distinct from the refraction effects of the object that's being obstructed. The surface has to be lifted and the distant thing has to be lowered in order to get that obstruction.
Yeah, I agree.
Wow, that's not even possible, right? Like, there are ways that you could conceive of refraction doing things. If the conditions, which are not possible, could be constructed such a way, right? So if you had hot air down low and cold air up high, that's unstable, right? Convection wants them to be swapped, and so there'd be all sorts of crazy, air moving around all over the place. But if you could somehow magically force that to happen, even then it would not work for them, because you need to have different refractive effects for the surface than for the distant object, and you can't have that happen.
For sure.
I actually never thought of that before. I thought it was possible, but now I know it's not even possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And it has to bounce the entire way. Like if I had 10 observers a half mile apart, leading up to an object, then there has to be a reason for there to be little bubbles of changes in density for whatever reason. And there's no mechanism for that to happen.
Interesting. All right. Let's see. Earth is Life for $10 says, do flat earthers agree with the distances on Google Earth? If so, do you agree with the distance between Johannesburg and Sydney, which is 6,836 miles? You can't use Google Earth and reject Google Earth distances. Pick one. Flurfs. Love that.
Yeah.
JSS Tiger says, the curve of the horizon is only evident as the angle from level increases. With near 0 degree angle, left to right curve is nigh imperceptible. Indeed it is. Yeah, and so for somebody to say, well, my experience is that the Earth is flat. That's exactly what we'd expect on a globe. So how is that quantifiably different, qualitatively different, or I don't know. How is that different?
Yeah.
Right? Just whatever. How is that different than what we expect on a globe? You need to actually find something where you expect a difference and then test.
Yeah. I always find that one interesting, you know, because I've never experienced a flat surface obstruct something in my daily life.
Yeah.
But I can obviously watch the sunset every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just say when they do flat Earth is just an observation, I say, oh, I'm sorry. Well, the globe is just an observation. The curve of the Earth is an observation. And they like to play the game where like, well, I don't have to provide evidence for that. It just presents itself that way. Well, wait. Well, if you can do that, so can I. The Earth is a globe. It presents itself that way. I don't need to provide evidence. That's your style. Then they immediately start demanding evidence. I'm like, hold on a second. We don't demand evidence for that. We can't. It's your criteria.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, is Kelbeta in here? I think somebody's. Oh, he is. Hey, Kelbeta. Says, thanks for everyone. The last debate was that voted for me. If interested, please check the few links I salvaged. It's actually proper science. So, all right, Kelbeta, for your information there, Negator. Kelbeta was the person I debated earlier today, who thinks that all the flat earthers' leadership are working for the Illuminati, and all of the ones that are agreeing with them are just like kind of victims of the Illuminati teaching the wrong idea of flat Earth. And he has the right idea of flat Earth, and it is that you can basically project the entirety of the universe onto a two-dimensional flat holographic space. And by the way, flat means a two-dimensional surface that might not be flat, but he called it flat.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, well, a sphere, the two-dimensional surface of the sphere, right? Flat earthers don't get this. The surface of the sphere is two-dimensional. And so he says, and he quoted some papers that the entire universe could be projected onto a hologram. That is a two-dimensional hologram. And it's some sort of a kind of a coordinate transform. And then he defines that as flat and then says, therefore the Earth is flat. Like, but in our reality, it's not flat. He's like, well, no, that is the reality. I'm like, yeah, but the one we experience is that. Well, it was a good conversation. Very, very different.
It sounds like it.
So I did appreciate it. I do enjoy a different angle sometimes. So. Let's see. Manny Karen says Negator said he'd show us a marmot, but all he showed was some weird ass animal. I want to see a marmot. Thank you, Manny Karen. Manny Karen, you're going to need to come to Colorado and then go marmot hunting with Negator. Of course, he's currently in not Colorado, so you'll have to wait and time it for when he is in Colorado. Mallory has shown up. Mallory is in the chat.
Oh, gosh.
Chronic Avenger says Flurfs don't understand that all observations need to be explained, not just cherry-picked ones. Very true. I mean, we've gone over that. Yep. I can provide explanations and analysis for all of the observations. You must do the same thing. Indie Tiger Sci-Fi Review got that about marmots. And then Stream News 1 says this stream brought to you by Preparation H, soothing butt hurts for Flurfs since 1865. With Robotham's publication of Earth Not a Globe. Have you read that?
I've pieced through excerpts and talking with Flurfs.
Yeah, I've read the whole thing. It's not that.
You read the whole thing?
Yes, I read all of it. So I was on both the flatearthsociety.org and tfes.org, mostly tfes.org, for quite a while before I did anything on YouTube. And they constantly quoted it then. I don't know if they still do. I haven't been on there much since then.
How many pages is it?
The original one from 1965 is not too many. He has like 15 what he calls experiments. They're none of the current flat earthers would call them experiments. They're all observations by those by their metric, but experiments aren't actually as rigidly defined as they think they are. But they're pretty poorly done. Like my favorite is he went up to the top of Brighton hotel in, oh no, the name of the hotel is, it's in Brighton on the south end of, right? And he went up that top of there and he said, well, if the Earth is a globe, then the horizon should drop. How much? He did not do the analysis. They never do that. And what did he use? Well, theodolites were available at the time. He rejected theodolites, and instead he brought an 18-inch log tube with a piece of string across the front. And he sighted through the tube and said, oh, well, the horizon rose to eye level. So what's the margin of error of that observation? How thick is that string? How much dip of the horizon is predicted? What's the margin of error of the leveling device that he used to level that?
Yeah. That was my question. How did he level it?
All of that unanswered, but they cite it. At the time, there were surveyors in England, and they used theodolites, and they did exactly the same thing with the theodolite. That's a measurement device. It's very precise. And he just said, no, collimation error. Hand waved it away, collimation error. But the thing that he doesn't, that he didn't know about theodolites is that, so if this is your theodolite, I know you can't see me, but for people at home, if this is your theodolite and you're sighting through it this way, note that this is on the top, right? And let's say that it measures too low, right? That this is measuring too low, and you're like, oh, well, I did one observation through a theodolite, and the theodolite is out of calibration, and it measured too low. Well, that's okay, because what they do is they flip and they turn the telescope so that now, you see, this is on the bottom. So any errors of too low are now too high. And so you measure the actual dip and you average those two together. Now that's not good enough. A good observation, if you really want to be good, is you'll do it again and again and again, right? Do it many times. Do it 4 times and average all 8 of the measurements together.
For sure.
And the surveyors have been doing that for a long time. I don't know if the surveyors that Robotham Handwave rejected did that. There's not a lot of documentation of that, but that's in his book. I think that's experiment number 15. So.
You know, it's in 8 years that I've been interacting with this nonsense. I've never had a flat earther reference anything from Robotham aside from the canal bit. It's weird.
On every once in a while on Facebook, somebody will come in and he's sending pictures of a physical book that he owns of Robotham.
As if it's magical and its knowledge is unquestionable because it's old.
It's the Bible of flat Earth for some people. Yeah. So.
Well, Toon, I appreciate the time. Yeah. My wife's calling, so I'm going to go ahead and dip out.
All right. Well, say hi for me. Anyway, Negator, thanks for coming.
Absolutely. Have a good one, man.
All right. We'll see you. All right, people. Well, I got one more from Naps Snaps. This is to Flat Earth. Who created this hologram and its tech? Shake my head. Yeah. What is the moon and why do we see, explain the moon basically. Why don't we see? And that's a good one. And squirm immediately, right? Here's their map. I don't care what map you use. You can pick any map. It doesn't matter. Imagine up the wackiest idea you want, but you're not going to get away from this. Let's say the moon is right there. You see that right there? There are people on opposite sides of the moon, right? Right here, right here. On flat Earth, they would see different sides of the moon. I don't care about upside down. That's not actually a thing, people. The moon upside down in the southern hemisphere is not actually a thing. This is the thing. You'd see a different portion of the moon. Right? They're right. Go put a number 6 on a piece of paper on your ceiling. And on one side of the room, look at it. You'll see a 6. Walk to the other side. You'll see a 9. Room is flat, ceiling's flat. It's upside down on the other side. That's not the problem. Please, people, don't go for that one. I still see it. It's dumb. You would see a different part of the moon, right? So if we put the sun right there, right, there's the sun. The sun's going to be illuminating part of it, right? This observer here would see a different illuminated portion than this observer here. And so for the flat earthers, a subset of the flat earthers think that the moon is actually a physical object and it's actually going around in circles. That's the Eric Dubé and the Robotham people. It immediately fails. The other ones are like, whoa, we don't know what it is. Okay, well then you failed, right? We bounced radar off of it. No, nuh-uh. Yes. We did. Just saying nuh-uh doesn't make it that we didn't bounce radar off of it. Flurfs. It's just being dishonest. So, yeah, and here's 77 Conspiracies. Deflex, he says, love the dark side of the moon NASA took. Looks very real. It certainly does look very real. But that's not the topic. You're going away from the topic. Explain why we see the same face of the moon, even though observers can be on opposite sides. You can't. You can only deflect or make up some stuff that has no supporting evidence. So, Well I Tried says we do see a different part of the moon when the north has a new moon and the south has a full moon. That never happens. Wisecoff says Flat Earth claims the moon is a light, not a physical object, but do theodolites read less than 180 degrees ever? Are the results consistent? Yes, they are consistent. I understand your claim that the moon is just a light, not a physical object, but you need to substantiate that claim. Just saying it, right? Just denying the globe doesn't present evidence for it. So don't talk about the globe. Fine. Whatever I said, you can completely ignore it. Then go, here is what it is. Not, here's what it's not. Right? PhD Tony, you demonstrated why I don't like visual evidence. Yes, visual evidence is not nearly as good as measurements. But here's what happens. When you show visual evidence to a flat earther, they say, well, I want measurements. When you show measurements to a flat earther, they say, I want observations. That's why I just start calling it. I say, I'm going to give you data, and then you're going to reject it, and you're going to ask for observations. So, Sean Carroll says, try this for the moon. A sphere will always look like a circle. A circle will become ovoid at different angles. Yes, if it's flat. If it's a flat circle, this is for you, Wisecoff. If the moon is a flat circle, then everywhere except directly oblique to it, it will appear elliptical. And the farther away you are from the GP of it, the more elliptical it will look. That's not what we see. So figure out, Wisecoff, figure out the answer. What is the moon? Why can we bounce radar off of it? Why can amateur ham radio operators bounce signals off of it and talk to other people or hear themselves talk with a delay of about, 2.6 seconds, I think. So, says, the theodolite and the Eratosthenes test we did recently and used to track the sun is really convincing me, actually. Just weird you need to go this deep. Yeah. It is. I mean, there's plenty of evidence. And the easiest one is the sun could never set. So, all right. I'm going to head out. He's a PhD. I had to mute you to report on my work for a satellite gravimetry mission. There you go. All right, everybody. Well, thank you very much. Look for a video I hope to have out this week on the gravity challenge. That is my next video I'm planning. And I got video of the Flat Earth Convention. Some of it is pretty good. stuff. Some of it is boring as can be. They had on Saturday, they had an announcer that had 2 sessions. They had lunch in the middle. So boring. And it was nothing related to Flat Earth. The second day, they had another guy doing a similar thing. They had Marty Leeds, who I thought might be interesting. He claims to be the numbers guy. All he is the gematria guy. That's all he does. He's not the math guy. So, all right. Well, I have to stop reading. I've got to close it down, people. Be looking for that video. That'll be on the Conspiracy Tunes channel. And with that, people, thank you very much for coming. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Well, unless the out doesn't. I don't know why. Yeah, the outro video barfed, and then oh my gosh, there it is. All right, so something happened. The outro video did not play. I think it wasn't yet queued up in memory. So, all right, hopefully this time is the one that's going to work. But I can't say the same thing I did before, so just bye. King Crew, you can stay. I'll give you permission. You can stay. Captain Crunch, you can stay too. And King Crew, you're welcome. You two could just hang out in the live chat. Whatever, people. We'll see ya. I screwed up again. All right.